yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab it and taste it. It is perhaps the greatest Monday that anyone is ever going to experience. You already know what time it is, baby. It's that time of the day to get down to the nitty-gritty, down and dirty pro wrestling conversation. And that could only mean that, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special edition Monday stream, as we are streaming live across 4 different platforms, across 4 different accounts, because Facebook decided to be a bunch of fucking douchebags. I can no longer stream on the DJ Storms Posse group chat, but I can still stream on the business page, so you're getting the stream live on the business page as we speak. That still doesn't change the fact, as you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle, No. All right, stop what you're doing, people. Stop what you are doing, because there is an oh-so-particular scent in the air, so if y'all could please take a nice big inhale with me, I want y'all to go, oh, so nice, you got to do it twice. Give it to me one more time, baby. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, gotta hit that hat trick, baby. You did it once, you did it twice. Hit that hat trick with me. I want you to feel it pulsing through your veins as you go. Oh, shit. Do you smell that? Oh my God. That is succulent. Oh, that is tasty. I think y'all know what that is. I think the guy right over here knows exactly what that is. What is that smell?
Well, I'm hoping it's the smell of pure fucking excellence.
Oh, you damn right.
Not what it looks like.
Your motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. We're having a good time, baby. Are you ready for a great fucking conversation of pro wrestling? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the official rewind for AEW Dynasty 2024, which of course streamed live across all local pay-per-view providing platforms last night from St. Louis, Missouri, with the 0 hour starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And as you can see, I'm not alone here. Back for the second time this month. It's a good friend of mine coming to us live from the West Coast in Portland, Oregon right now. He's a loyal DJ Storms Posse member and big-time channel member as well. He is in the upper echelon of DJ Storms Posse supporters. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome back to the eye of the storm once again, my main man, HooliGrim. How you doing, brother?
How's it going? Good to be back. It's been a busy month. we have been spoiled this month in terms of wrestling content. April's always
Good
one of
for
my
us,
favorites
bro.
out of the year. So
It's good for us, bro. I'm telling you, we got some
yeah.
good shit. Midmo Smart, he recently just came back from the show last night. How you doing, brother?
Oh, is he in the comments?
Mm-hmm. He's in the chat right now.
Yeah, he was. Him and his sign was featured prominently throughout the show last night. That was awesome.
Midmo Smart. I didn't know he lived close to. Didn't know he lived close to St. Louis. I didn't even know he lived in the St. Louis area. But holy shit.
Well, I guess he still had a 3-hour drive. I don't think he got home till like 4 or 5 in the morning his time.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit.
That's hardcore.
Hunter Wilkinson. What are you, chop liver? No, dude. You're a first time individual over here. Is that one of your people, HooliGrim?
I know no such person.
Fair enough. I guess looks like we got a new supporter here. Adam Carl as well. Thank you very much for stopping on by. We got plenty of good shit as the crowd is starting to file in. 13 people.
Who names their kid Hunter?
13. Fair. Well, I don't know, Hunter. Looks like you're not too liked in the eyes of HooliGrim over here, but we'll see what happens. 13 people so far. Plenty of people to file in as well. We also got Natasha. Very, very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Very, very happy to see Natasha.
Adam Carl's in the chat. James Puntaseca, longtime
Puntaseca.
watchers. Adam Carl.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did I just see? Hi, Natasha. I said that already.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate it. Unless your name is
Hunter. Plenty to talk about, that's for sure. And we're going to get into the specifics, but first things first. Where can we find you on social media, brother?
You can find me. I'll put it in the chat at HooliGrim. It's spelled kind of funny. I'll make it easy on everybody and just type it out. But yeah,
makes sense. Makes sense. Trust me when I tell you. You're going to want to follow him. He's a very, very loyal supporter. He's been supporting me for a long, long time, ever since I had him on my show all the way back in December of 2022. It's actually been that long, if you could believe it. It feels like a fucking lifetime ago. But we are still running strong. We're still doing some great shit here. And he's going to be on my channel many, many times this year. We'll probably get him back on the show during the summertime. But you can check him out on TikTok and on X. In addition, you can also check me out on X and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS. You can also add me on my personal Facebook, and you can like the DJ Storms business page, which you're live on right now. I made you send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. Unfortunately, we no longer have the ability to go live there, but you can still interact. It's a good way to meet new people and have some fun. And we're going to have fun as we usually do here in the Eye of the Storm. Please make sure that you hit the like button, no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, X, or Rumble. We're live on Rumble as well, looking to build a nice, solid following over on Rumble. So please make sure that you show some support over there and share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether it be X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. We got HooliGrim coming back on the channel for the second time this month, and we got a lot of good shit to talk about today on the Rewind. So please show us some love, share the stream out, and be sure you hit the subscribe button. Very vital that you hit the subscribe button so that way I can grow, because we are on the road to 2,500 subs. We are actually less than 25 subs away from 2,500. So if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button when you come on in. Show some support there. I'm monetized now, so if you guys want to become a channel member like HooliGrim and like Raging Girl Gamer, shout out to Raging Girl Gamer, she's a fucking beast, please join the channel membership posse group. We got 3 tiers. We got the posse member introduction, we got Eye of the Storm, and we got DJ Storms approved. And in addition to that, we also got super chats, super stickers, and super thanks. Please go and send those in. HooliGrim has already shown his support. Raging Girl Gamer has shown her support. Final Hoss, who I'm sure we'll see a little bit later, Final Hoss showed his support. So guys and girls, please show some support. Send in your super chats and super stickers and super thanks, and I may just read them at the end of the stream, or I may just read them during the stream as well, in between the matches that we review. And then finally, this is the most important thing. Please make sure you hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, motherfuckers, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube. It is the only time that you are going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Hold on. It's lodged in here somewhere. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Take a look at this. Take a look at that right there.
Where'd you just pull that out of?
I pulled it out of fucking Narnia. That's where I pulled this shit out of. And my, oh my.
You said it was lodged somewhere, so
Trust me, we're going to light it up, because I had me some great egg salad and macaroni salad with some garlic toast as well for lunch. And I'm telling you, do you know what it was? It was so, I said it was so, I'm telling you, it was succulent. It was tasty, just like I am. Everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. And I got custom-made combs coming in. I already got wristbands. I got T-shirts. I got custom-made combs coming on in as well. They're going to be coming in during the first week of May. I'll be there at 80s WrestleCon in the Menon Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. That's going to be on Saturday, May 4th. I'm going to be there all day. I'm going to be doing a live stream from 80s WrestleCon just like I did last year. We're going to have a fun time. I'll be selling T-shirts, wristbands, and combs. And you're damn right, Midmost Mark. I got custom combs coming. So if you want some custom combs, be sure to hit me up. If you want a T-shirt, be sure to hit me up. I'm telling you, you are not going to want to miss out on this grade A perfect merch. It's the best merch that anyone will ever own. But before we get into what we're going to get into, Hunter Wilkinson, looks like you are gonzo. You are gonzo. You want to be a fucking asshole? You can get the fuck out and you will never be seen again. You can make like your mother and suck my dick. Anyway.
Wow.
HooliGrim, we got to get down to business here because we got a lot to talk about. AEW Dynasty. I don't want to go too in depth on the preliminary shit, but
okay.
Holy shit, dude. It seems as though we say this more often than not, but these types of shows, they really make you proud to be a professional wrestling fan. And this was a week. This week was a week that AEW needed. They did not start off the month of April on the right foot. They had 2 weeks worth of the month of April that was very lackluster. It was not focused at all. It lacked a sense of urgency. I'm not going to say it was the worst shows I've ever seen. I mean, give me a break. I lived through a day where I saw Baron Corbin dump dog food on Roman Reigns on SmackDown. So I know what a bad show is. Trust me on that. But clearly, if you compare the shows that we were getting in March, and March was perhaps the best month that they had since September of 2021 versus the first 2 weeks of April, and clearly you saw what was lacking. You saw that they were not putting their best foot forward. The shows did not have the energy that they normally would have. And then we go into the third week of April, and we actually got a decent Dynamite. Collision and Rampage on Saturday felt like a mini pay-per-view. And then we get this show last night with Dynasty from St. Louis. And it seems as though they're finally starting to get back on the right track that they were at for the month of March, because the month of March was a big, big step in the right direction for them. Now it feels as though they're starting to put all of that complacency shit behind them. Because let me tell you something. The one thing I hate is complacency. The first 2 weeks of April, complacent as shit. Complacent as
Yeah,
shit.
I
But
kind of
it's different.
I kind of got the vibe like last night. I don't remember what point during the show, but a light bulb moment kind of happened for me, and I thought to myself, well, I've been, because I've been critical of AEW for the last year and 4 months, like on a weekly basis. Their pay-per-views I know are always going to hit, but I kind of just realized, if all the talent that's wrestling at the pace and doing the moves that they're doing on a weekly basis, they couldn't sustain long term. Like AEW style is something like people were. I was getting mad that people were like making comparisons. Oh, Dynasty is so much better than WrestleMania Night One. Well, comparing it to what? You can't really compare the two because it's two different things.
Well, WrestleMania Night 1 was a little bit of a different story. WrestleMania Night 1, the issue with WrestleMania Night 1 is the fact that they did not build that show up like they really should have, and The Rock fucking took all the hype.
But to
And
me, that just like is it's counterproductive, and it continues like the tribalism. But not only that, it's comparing apples to oranges. I don't like when I'm watching last night. I'm not even remotely thinking now. Yeah, I'm just not thinking at all about WWE because it's not even they're not trying to be like WWE in a lot of ways. I know that a lot of things that they do in terms of weekly filler seems very WWE-esque, but like I said, if the wrestlers wrestled weekly like they wrestled their matches last night, AEW would have injuries all across the board. There'd be 20 wrestlers out with injuries at any given time because these guys don't play around in the ring at all whatsoever. And I feel like WWE, we get the same two people in various forms week after week after week for a long period of time and they seem to kind of just take it easy. But it's like if they were wrestling like we saw last night, everybody'd be out with injury at some point.
Well, the whole issue with WrestleMania Night Number 1, the one thing that I was focused on, and this was probably the most impressive thing about the show last night, was the crowd. Like, holy fuck, dude. I never thought in a million years that bumblefuck St. Louis, Missouri would have been this good of a professional wrestling crowd. How many people were in attendance? 6,500 people? Dude, they were making more noise than the crowd during WrestleMania Night Number 1. I understand that show had a bad build, but I mean, holy shit.
Well, they were also indoors and not outside for 6 hours in 40-degree weather. That probably had something to do
dude,
with
I'm
it.
not even blaming the fucking weather because we've had WrestleMania. Dude, I was at WrestleMania 29 in New Jersey during 50-degree weather with some winds, and the crowd was louder during that show more so than they were during Philadelphia WrestleMania Night 1. And there were probably more fans in attendance for WrestleMania 40 than there were WrestleMania 29.
Mm.
But the whole issue is it's not even the professional wrestling, because we do get some great matches on Collision, Rampage, and Dynamite. The whole issue is when the shows are not focused and the shows are not structured well, like we saw with the first 2 weeks of April versus what we saw throughout the month of March. When the shows are not structured well, they're not going to come off well. And it's clear as day that Tony Khan, I really don't want to say he's falling into a trap, but he kind of is falling into a trap of complacency. He's falling into a trap of, well, you know what? I already got a great roster. The pay-per-view is going to be great. I don't really need to structure the shows as well as I normally would. And that's a problem. When you are lazy, when you are complacent, that is ultimately going to take a negative effect on what is going on weekly TV. You do not want to slip into that category. You should be giving 138% on a weekly basis, or you should not be showing up, whether it be with promos or storyline angles or wrestling matches, whatever it may be. But with Dynasty, it just felt a little bit different. And with the crowd that we got and the way that the show was laid out, from top to bottom, dude, this was incredibly well paced. It didn't even feel like 4 hours. It really just flew by. And I don't want to say that this was the best show that they've ever done. And we were talking about this before we went live. But dude, holy shit, did this show give Revolution and All In a run for their money?
I agree. I don't know in terms of comparison. I'd have to slightly give the edge probably to Dynasty over Revolution.
Are you really? Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just prisoner of the moment type of mentality because last night was so fresh in my mind still. I want to go back and watch Revolution and Dynamite again in their entirety. But last night, just I don't know, the crowd for me really just I thought that there was no way, like, and we'll talk about it when we get to the matches, but the crowd really surprised me in certain parts of the show when I thought that they were going to be spent. They brought it last night and really helped make that show feel epic.
And if they wanted to, I would not mind if AEW experiment with a smaller stage, because if they wanted to, they could have easily packed that place with like 10,000 people easily. Now, the whole issue is, and again, this is where they have a problem with their promotion and marketing. This show was announced during Revolution with 7 weeks to promote. Like, you can't do that. This show should have been announced at World's End, and this show should have been promoted throughout the first 4 months of the year. And if they did that, if they did a smaller stage and they promoted the show as much as they should have, then this show probably would have been packed with 10,000 people. But they had a bigger stage. They packed it with 6,500, which was virtually sold out. They did what they needed to do, and it came off well. And in the end, it was probably one of the most well-paced pay-per-views that they've ever done. I would probably put this in the top 5, but I wouldn't say it was their best show ever. But in terms of match placement, in terms of pacing, and in terms of the outcomes, every major match virtually had the right outcome, and there was not one dud, minus one, which was the TBS title match on the show.
Yeah, I agree.
So why don't we head into the 0 hour? And this is another thing that I've been talking about, the 0 hour. Tony Khan has not done a good job at making 0 hour feel important. I understand it's a pre-show, but if I was booking a pay-per-view, I'd make everything feel important. From the pre-show to the main event, it doesn't fucking matter. If it's part of the pay-per-view, even if it's 0 hour, I'd make it feel as important as it could possibly feel. And in recent pay-per-views, 0 hour has been a complete waste of time. It's felt like Ring of Honor. And I don't want to use that in terms of disrespect, but, Ring of Honor, weekly TV is nothing but 5-6 minute matches. That's what the 0 hour has felt like.
Yeah.
This was different. This was easily the best 0 hour that they've done for a pay-per-view in a long time. And I mean a long, long time. I don't think I've seen a 0 hour that was this good probably since Revolution 2022. I remember Revolution 2022 0 hour. That was a great fucking 0 hour. It felt like a Rampage episode. But show started off with St. Louis's own Matt Sydal, and he took on Trent Beretta. This was a match that pretty much came about on Wednesday because Trent Beretta tossed a chair right at Matt Sydal's forehead, and it bounced off of his forehead. This was actually solid. This went about 8-9 minutes, and the crowd, they were not even fully packed yet. The crowd wasn't even fully packed yet, but the crowd, they actually gave a decent amount of energy into this match. So Sydal, he came in with a spinning heel kick and a question mark kick for a 2. Trent was tripped up on the buckle. We had an air raid crash and a Meteora for a 2 count. Sydal was then dropped face first on the buckle. Then Trent Beretta delivered a Gotch-style pile driver, which looked very nice. Sydal kicked out. We had a running knee by Trent, and then he locked in a triangle choke. And we got ourselves Sydal tapping out. Trent Beretta got a win clean. Solid match. Beretta then wouldn't release the hold. He wouldn't release the hold. And then in came his brother, Mike Seidel. Trent took out Mike Seidel before Chuck Taylor came out. Trent Beretta ran off. He took the mic and he said that Chuck Taylor is acting like a prick. And you have till Wednesday to tell me where you stand. And then all of a sudden, out came Orange Cassidy and Shibata for their match. And that was pretty much that. Trent Beretta ran off, and that's how the show got off to a start. Before I go into what I got to say, what do you got to say about this match?
Sorry, I had my mic muted because landscapers are right out my window.
I can't even hear it.
I'm not to take away from either of these two guys because they're both excellent wrestlers. For me, I don't know why this match was even a thing on the show. They could do this match on weekly television anywhere. Rampage, Collision, Dynamite. I would have left this off the pre-show, to be honest with you. I didn't have any investment or feeling towards this match whatsoever. I'd rather have them. I mean, I guess is where we're going with this anyway, is a Trent Beretta and why can I never remember his name?
Chuck Taylor.
Chuck Taylor, thank you. I guess that's where they're going to go with it, which is kind of, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I would have put Hook and Jericho in this spot on the pre-show and then lessen the time of the overall card and left this match off. It was a good match for what it was. I just don't like why. It was my thinking.
You know what the problem was? Trent Beretta hasn't given us an explanation yet. That's a problem. Where is the explanation for Trent Beretta? And the explanation is quite simple. If we do not get this explanation on Wednesday, then we have a problem. All Trent needs to say to Chuck Taylor is, why did I do what I do? Chuck, you and I, we brought Orange Cassidy into AEW, and what have we gotten? Orange Cassidy, he gets the crazy new merch. Orange Cassidy gets the pay-per-view matches. Orange Cassidy gets 2 reigns as international champion. And what do we get? We get online praise saying how underrated we are. No, we're not underrated. We're one of the best tag teams in the world. Orange Cassidy has gotten the spotlight, and we're background players. We do not deserve to be background players. And then Orange Cassidy, when he has the opportunity to pay us back by having us win the tournament, what does he do? He can't get the job done. That's all they need to say.
Yeah, I just, in terms of like, my favorite part of this whole match was at the end when Trent Beretta had his interaction with Chuck Taylor, and he basically said he's given him till Dynamite to let him know what side of the fence he stands on. Is he with Beretta or is he with Orange Cassidy, basically? And then he walks up the ramp, and then they hit Orange Cassidy's music as he comes out for his match before Beretta. So then, you know, I like that little detail too, because then that plays into their whole what they're leading up to on Wednesday night. So that was kind of cool. But
Chuck's
again,
gotta go heel. Chuck's gotta go heel too.
Yeah.
It's got to be best friends versus Shibata and Cassidy. That's
it's either he goes heel and they're a heel tag team, or he doesn't and they have a feud.
The feud should be Trent versus Cassidy, realistically. The feud is Trent versus Cassidy, and then Shibata and Chuck Taylor are there as supporting acts.
They could go that way too. It would make sense to do either one to me.
Ironically, this actually wasn't the worst match of the night, if we're going to be quite honest. 8 minutes, Trent wins. We then
and it was a good match. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to take away from it being like they did Trent Beretta is really good. I just didn't care. Sorry.
So from there, we go into Orange Cassidy and Katsuyori Shibata versus Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. This was a very good match for what it was. I believe it went about 12 minutes. And Shane Taylor Promotions, you know, I love Shane Taylor Promotions. I think that they got a nice little faction going for themselves, but they just seem like an enhancement talent faction. But regardless, the match overall was very good. Shane Taylor was isolating Orange Cassidy. Shibata got the tag. Shibata with a hesitation dropkick on Moriarty. Shibata slapped the shit out of Shane Taylor's face. We had Shibata and Cassidy with some stomps, a double hesitation dropkick. We had Moriarty getting caught with the Stun Dog Millionaire. We had the Border City Stretch. Cassidy was able to get out. Cassidy with the Swift Satellite DDT. Love the Satellite DDT. Taylor then was caught in a sleeper hold. Shibata with a boot to a go-go. PK on Shane Taylor. We had roll-up after roll-up by Moriarty and Cassidy. Cassidy with the orange punch. Cassidy pins Lee Moriarty. 1, 2, 3, and Orange Cassidy gets the victory. Very good tag team match for what it was. And this was pretty much a preliminary build-up to what I assume is going to be best friends, heel best friends, versus Orange Cassidy and Shibata. And that was pretty much that. But what did you think of this match?
It was a good match. I didn't mind. I've been kind of critical about all of the Orange Cassidy that we get on a weekly basis when their roster, especially since the AEW likes to combine Ring of Honor and mix that in with what they do with AEW stuff. There's just so many guys on the roster, and I feel like I'm always watching an Orange Cassidy match. So it was a great match. Really like Shane Taylor a lot. Really, but again, this is a match that I was like, does this need to be on the pre-show?
It's like a match that was thrown together because of what happened on Dynamite. That was pretty much it. If anything, this was pretty much done as extended build-ups for what we're going to get with Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy. So realistically, no, it didn't really need to be on the show.
Like, this was something I feel like they could have put on a Dynamite and a Collision or Rampage after the pay-per-view to start maybe a build towards something leading towards the next pay-per-view. Like, I never liked in wrestling, and WWE does this a lot too, where you'll just get some makeshift out of the blue match on a go-home show right before the pay-per-view, like days or the day before, and you're like, and then they'll put it on the show, and you're like, what? Why?
Yeah, pretty much. But that was pretty much that. Decent little tag team match. And then the main event of the 0 hour. It is Bullet Club Gold, or what they're calling now the Bang Bang Gang, versus the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. This was a unification match for both the Ring of Honor World Six-Man and the AEW World Trios Championships. Titles for titles. And these two factions, it's clear as day that what they were doing at the beginning of the year, it was not clicking. It didn't work. This Bang Bang Scissor Gang shit, it was not resonating with the audience. They were two different personality factions, and their personalities did not mesh well together, and it was just completely meaningless. It was done as a one-time only pop, and then we get the breakup. Thank God we got the breakup. I knew where this was leading to. I still would have put this match on Supercard of Honor to make Supercard of Honor feel more important, but I cannot shit on them putting this match on the pre-show to make the pre-show feel a little bit more important. And we got ourselves a great trios match. It went about 15 minutes. Every single individual in this match, they hit the mark. They did what they needed to do. They hit all of their spots extremely well. It flowed very nicely. It crescendoed into the next gear as we got deeper and deeper into the match. And realistically speaking, you could very well say that, hey, either teams could have won this match. You could have made a case for either factions to win this match. So even though we got ourselves a very, very bad, and I mean a bad buildup, we ended up getting a great trios match, and it ended with the right man pinning the right man. So we got the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass in control. They had the momentum on their side. We had a super kick to Austin Gunn. We had a rolling elbow to Jay White. This was Bowens who was in control. Bowens was then isolated after Jay White delivered a gourd buster to him on the apron, which I very much like. I like that move. The crowd tried to rally behind the Acclaimed. Bowens made the tag to Daddy Ass. He came in with some punches to all three members of the Bang Bang Gang. Billy then dropped his son, Austin, with the one and only. He delivered a famouser on Colton. We then had Bowens come in with a famouser. Austin took out Max Caster, and we had Daddy Ass in control until Austin and Colton delivered the 310 to Yuma. 1-2. Billy kicked out. Very nice near fall. In came Bowens and Caster. White was isolated. White was taken out by Caster and Bowens. We had a famouser by Billy and a mic drop by Caster. I actually thought the Acclaimed were going to win here. 1-2. White kicked out. So the Guns and the Acclaim, they neutralized each other. Billy was going for the famouser, and Jay White came in with the Blade Runner, connects on the money. 1, 2, 3. And Bullet Club Gold, or the Bang Bang Gang, whatever the hell you want to call them, they are the new unified Ring of Honor and AEW World Trios champions. Now, listen, I understand that a lot of people are campaigning for Jay White to go back in the singles division. And you know what? If the Acclaimed won, if the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass won and Jay White then went back into the singles division and the Guns went back into the tag team division, I would not have been mad. I would not have been mad, and I know that Jay White, he's a much better singles wrestler than he is a trios wrestler. But if you think about it, at this very moment, where's he going to go? All of the title pictures are occupied. Strong isn't losing his title. Copeland isn't losing his title. And if he does, it's not going to be to Jay White. Okada is not losing his title. And Swerve just won the world championship. So where is Jay White going to go? Jay White is not going to factor into any major title pictures, at least not now. Now, if he's still in this position, if he's still in this position at the end of the year, then we have a problem. Then we can complain. But as of right now, I don't mind him being in this position till maybe at least All In or All Out.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't. I thought you were still talking. I agree. Thank you for saying that, because I was gonna say the exact same thing about Jay White, and I'll I get why everyone's upset. I thought it was hilarious that Max Caster on Twitter yesterday called him Mr. 0 Hour. And they come out with the red leather in the mirrors, like throwback nod to HBK from back in the day. So calling him like Mr. 0 Hour, I was thinking like Mr. WrestleMania is HBK's moniker. So I just thought that was funny. I thought
that
it was
the
actually
best rap in a long time.
I thought it was funnier than, well, I was gonna say like that roast on Twitter. I thought was funnier than his actual walk to the ring rap that he did. I don't know what's going on with his raps. Like when the music was playing and they were walking down, that rap was fine. When the music cut off and he grabbed the mic to keep it going, he lost me with all of that. Aside from that, this match felt like the beginning of the pay-per-view for me. So to your point, I agree. There's so much going on in AEW at the top of the card, and they got so many people. There's not, unless they add a third hour to Dynamite. This, for the time being, is going to have to be what we see from Jay White, and that's just it is what it is. And I'm trying to accept that fact.
It's not the worst thing in the world. People make it,
and I feel like if people just use their brain a little bit and understand why Jay White is where he's at right now, it might help people enjoy what he's doing a little more. And I really enjoyed that whole match last night. I thought that was the best, I think, for me, I've seen the Guns look. To me, I was watching them and I thought, this actually, for the Guns' sake, is probably why they're doing this more so than anything for Jay White. I think Jay White being with the Guns is allowing the fans in the long run to, when they're ready, will be more accepting of the Guns. If you had them paired with their father, I don't think we look at the Guns the same way, because it's almost like a nepotism thing, or legendary. I still look at Billy Gunn and I just think WWE. I'll always see him as that, even though he's in AEW. And I think that the Guns being with their father would kind of, in a sense, pigeonhole them. So them being paired with Jay White, I think, is in the long run helping them get over better. And that match, I was glad that they won the trios titles. They needed to. I think the scissor me daddy ass thing was funny at first, and it popped the crowd. They made their first T-shirt, the one that you wear on the show from time to time. I was okay with that. Once they turned the belts pink and they just started running with it, I think sometimes you got to pay attention to your audience, and I think that you kind of got to read the room, and they stretched it out way too long. It got way played out, in my opinion. So this was the right outcome. I like Bang Bang Gang better than Scissor Gang. I'd rather them be Bullet Club Gold. But I don't know what's up with Juice Robinson. But this was a great match, and I love Jay White. He's excellent. He really is.
And at the end of
The
the
Guns
day,
are coming along nicely too. They really that was the first time they looked like a legit bona fide tag team to me. And not just Billy Gunn's two boys, trying to be wrestlers. You know what I mean?
And in addition to that, the Acclaimed, they need to be back in the tag team division. The Acclaimed, they're so much better in the tag team division than they are in the trios division. See, Daddy Ass, but let's be honest here. Even though Billy Gunn can
They don't really need him anymore.
Well, here's the thing with him. Even though Billy Gunn can still wrestle at his age and he's in phenomenal shape, at the end of the day, he's nothing more than an enhancement act for the Acclaimed. Bowens and Caster, they are the stars.
He's kind of the link between the two tag teams, the Guns and the Acclaimed. So it makes sense. But these two teams have been feuding for it's a year longer. Like, what's going on?
It's been like an on and off feud between the Guns and the Acclaimed.
I want to see these teams. It's just hard because I want to see the Guns do their own thing on their own now. I feel like they're real close, if not. I don't know. I feel like they're ready almost to not have training. Let's take the training wheels off of both of these teams. Get Mr. Ass and Jay White away from them and put them back as regular tag teams. But Jay White is he's a fish in a big ocean right now.
Pretty much. And at the end of the day, I mean, he wasn't winning the Continental Classic. He wasn't going to beat MJF, not because he's not great, but it just wasn't his time. So at this rate, this is probably the best possible scenario for him. And
how many trios tag teams do we have, though?
We don't have them. We don't have a lot. We don't really have too many, and that's why
we have the Acclaimed with Daddy Ass. We have the House of Black. We have. That's the only three legit trios tag teams.
We got Bullet Club Gold. We got FTR and Daniel Garcia. We got
who's in Bullet Club Gold?
What?
Who's Bullet Club Gold?
The Bang Bang Gang.
Oh yeah. Okay, I said that.
Yeah, we got Bullet Club Gold. We got the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. We got the Elite. We got Daniel Garcia and
Top Flight.
FTR. We got House of Black. We got Top Flight and Action Andretti. We got the Mogul Embassy. You know what the problem is? They don't build up a competitive trios division. That's the problem. They have not built up a competitive trios division to a point where, we can predict where they're going to go. And that right there is always going to be a major problem. But at this very moment, this is probably the best route for Jay White to go. And the match ended with the correct man, Jay White, on his team, pinning the correct man on the Acclaim's team, which was Daddy Ass. And now that the Acclaimed are no longer trios champions, now it's time to get them back in the tag team division. I see them as potential challengers for the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. And that right there, that could very well be the best match that we've seen the Acclaimed wrestle. That match could get the Acclaimed back to the form that they were in at the end of 2022 if they do play their cards right. So this was a great trios match, one of the best 0 hours that the company's done in a long time. And we had 3 matches, 3 right outcomes. So
it was definitely the right outcome.
Up until this point, I'm thinking to myself, all right, they started the show off in 0 hour on the correct foot. Let's see what they do going into the main card. So from there, we go into the main show, and I actually called this. Pac and Okada kicked off the show. I called it that this would have been the best match to kick off the show. They gave us this match, and if you could believe it, this was the first time ever that Pac and Okada have ever faced off, and they fought as if they wrestled 15 times each other. They wrestled each other 15 times before this match. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, man, if you want 2 guys who are as professional as you could possibly get, you want 2 guys that are guaranteed to give you a great fucking match with anyone that you put them in the ring with, look no further than Okada and Pac. Okada came in, immediate impact, and Okada right now is doing some great fucking heel work. I can't wait to see what else he does following this. This was easily one of the best openers that we've seen since MJF and Darby Allin at Full Gear 2021. This was an excellent match and the perfect way for Okada to begin his reign. So much so that the crowd not only appreciated Okada, but they gave Pac a standing ovation after this match. Unbelievable.
Yeah. This match was incredible. I really liked that. I went back and watched this match again this morning. And I think sometimes when you're watching a live pay-per-view with a hot crowd, I was doing a watch along with Midmost Mark and some other buddies. Shout out to Big O Gaming. We were doing a watch along. Oh, and Hoodie Rob Bebe also. They're OTS supporters, and they come in the chat from time to time. We were watching this match, and I think, in the moment, sometimes little nuances are missed about a match that when I go back and watch it the next day, I pick up on. And that kind of was how it was for me this morning with Okada and Pac. I was able to kind of just in my own zone focus on it and notice things that I didn't notice last night. And that's just a test to, man, I thought we had an epic match last night, and then I go back and watch it this morning and I just notice all these little layers, facial expressions, little details and things that I wasn't really focused on in the moment last night. And these 2 have Fight Forever written all over them. I'd love to see him run it back. I hope that was Pac selling his ass off and that he can stay healthy. A couple of them DDTs spots that he took, man, good thing his neck is as thick as it is, because yikes. He makes everything look so believable, and Okada is just, that shotgun drop kick that he does when he sent Pac flying backwards into that turnbuckle was like, I'm so glad we get to see Okada. I really am. I'm going to take the time that he gives us and really just try to enjoy getting to see him, because at one point I thought he was somebody that we'd never actually see in the States on our TV. So pretty epic way to start off that show last night. That was just came out just gangbusters. Those guys were just relentless.
Imagine that. So we had a very technical start. Pac came in with a Fosbury flop over the top and an avalanche brainbuster for a 2 count. Okada then with a drop kick, sending Pac to the floor. Okada was in control. Okada then with a DDT on the floor, spiking Pac. Pac looked like he contorted himself, and he's tilting his neck to the side. He's fucking curling his fingers. We had another DDT in the ring. Pac then mounted a comeback, delivered a springboard moonsault to the floor. Absolutely beautiful. It's like he fucking stopped in midair. Missile drop kick in the ring. Spinning back kick. And then a kick to the shoulder. Snap German suplex by Pac. Okada rolled through into the shotgun drop kick. Both men are down. Crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." We had an air raid crash neck breaker for a 2 count. Okada with the elbow drop. And he then went for the Rainmaker, but instead of the zoom, he flipped the birdie, and he just had this scowl on his face. He flipped the bird. The crowd booed. He went for the Rainmaker. Pac reversed it, and Pac delivered a super kick, a big lariat, and a bridging German suplex for an incredibly close 2 count. I actually thought that may have been the end of the match. We had a black arrow, but Pac missed. Okada with the tombstone, but Okada did not get the win off the tombstone. Instead, Pac rolled him up for a 2. Okada then went for a Death Valley driver, but Pac, and I love this about Pac, whenever Pac is in a Death Valley driver position, he can always transition into the fucking brutalizer. Fucking loved it. Pac with the brutalizer. It was in deep. Okada was being dragged down. Okada, in a desperate attempt to get out, he gouged at Pac's eyes. We then had Pac with a tombstone himself. He went for the black arrow, but Okada grabbed the referee. Okada grabbed the referee to try and delay the inevitable. Pac stomped on Okada's head a bit. Pac with the black arrow, but Okada got his knees up. Pac's jaw went right into Okada's knees. Okada then with the Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. And Okada retains in an excellent opening match. The perfect way to begin his reign. So much so that the crowd not only appreciated Okada, but they gave Pac a standing ovation afterwards. My oh my, I really hope to fucking Christ that Okada stays, or Okada, he's going to have to stay in the U.S. for a little bit. But I hope that Pac stays healthy, because we need Pac consistently on AEW TV. We're going to need to have Pac involved with All In some way, shape, or form. And I got the perfect match for him, and it's the guy that says bruv all the time. But we'll talk about that when we get into the match with the Bruv Man and the Dragon. But for now, Okada and Pac, first time ever, they fucking killed it. Could not have asked for a better opening match. From there, we go into a match that I actually thought would have kicked off the show. They put this match on second. Adam Copeland, Mark Briscoe, and Eddie Kingston, 3 champions, versus the House of Black. And I did not mind this match being booked on the show, because this match, it was a setup match. This was a setup match that was going to set up a bigger match down the line, and that's exactly what this match accomplished. This was a very, very good trios match right here. Briscoe, he is the new Ring of Honor World Champion after he beat Eddie Kingston back at Supercard of Honor in a great match, by the way. Great main event. So we had Briscoe and Malachi. They mixed it up a bit. Copeland tagged in. He mixed it up with Matthews. Kingston and Brody, they got into it. A little throwback from their match in the Continental Classic back in September. Or excuse me, not September, December. From there, Kingston was isolated by Brody. Brody delivered a boss man slam and a cannonball. Brody King's cannonball is fucking nasty. I would not want to.
Man,
that. I would not.
That is a stout, solid, large man. And,
dude,
and all that weight that he puts into that cannonball.
It sounds like fucking concrete.
I mean,
every single time he hits the cannonball against the buckle. Like,
and there's no way you can, like, sometimes when somebody does a cannonball, you can tell, like, they hit the turnbuckle first before they hit their opponent. Brody King is so large, there's no way to escape that, and you get absolutely squished in his cannonball. That's definitely a move I'd be afraid of receiving if I was his opponent.
It'll fucking crush your windpipe. If
Yeah,
you're not, it'll fucking crush your windpipe.
yeah, for sure.
So Kingston, he was on the receiving end of the cannonball. In came Mark Briscoe. He lit up Buddy Matthews with some redneck kung fu. We had an enziguri and a wrecking ball drop kick. From there, things started to break down. Briscoe, I don't think I've ever seen Briscoe do this before. He put the chair on the apron. Usually he puts the chair in the ring and he launches off the chair into a tope con hero to the floor. But he had the chair on the apron and he launched off the chair over the ring post as if he's fucking Ricochet and dove onto Brody King. I thought that was a very nice spot right there. So at this point, Brody King, he paid Briscoe back quite fondly for it. Brody King delivered a Death Valley driver to Mark Briscoe into the barricade, actually shifted the barricade, and Brody King was doing his best Pac impersonation. He was contorted and all distorted next to the barricade. Briscoe was isolated before Copeland tagged in. Copeland with some forearms. He could not get Brody King down. We had a big spot in the corner where Malachi and Buddy delivered double power bombs to Briscoe and Kingston, and then Adam Copeland with a superplex off of the top rope onto Brody King. From there, things started to break down again. Crowd started chanting AEW. We had an Impaler DDT on Brody, Froggy Bow by Mark Briscoe. Buddy Matthews saved it. So Black and Copeland, they stood face to face, and this is a match that I'm sure a lot of people are looking to see. We had a six-way brawl. This was a great spot right here. We had Briscoe on the camera side of the apron, and then we had Kingston on the entranceway side of the apron. Copeland was in the ring, and we had three spears in unison. Taking out all three members of the House of Black. That was a very nice spot. So things were breaking down, and the referee was trying to get control of Matthews and Briscoe, and he had his attentions diverted. We had Adam Copeland. He went for the spear on Malachi, and the referee was distracted. Malachi Black misted Adam Copeland in the face as he was going for the spear, which was perfectly fucking timed. And then he delivered the Sin Eater, spinning heel kick, 1, 2, 3. Malachi Black pins Adam Copeland in an outcome that I did not expect. I had the House of Black winning. House of Black were absolutely going to win, but I didn't think that they were going to have Malachi pin Copeland. That is a big, big rub for Malachi. And I'm glad that the House of Black got this win. It was a much-needed win on pay-per-view, and this was the picture-perfect setup for what we're going to get at Double or Nothing, presumably Double or Nothing, and we're going to get Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black for the TNT Championship, and Adam Copeland's going to continue building some prestige with that TNT Championship. I don't see him losing, but I would not mind if they do give the TNT Championship to Malachi Black. But other than that, I have no complaints about this. This match was very good. It did its job. Right outcome and a big, big rub for Malachi Black. No complaints.
Yeah, there was a huge pop for House of Black when they won that match, and rightfully so. On the watch along I was on yesterday, one of the guys was saying the first thing I noticed, and I was irritated right at the beginning because starting in the pre-show, I mean, there's just belts. Every other wrestler's got a belt in AEW. There's just Ring of Honor belts, AEW belts, international belt, continental title. I'm like, where are all these championships coming from? Like, what is going on? The point I'm trying to make is that the guy I was doing a watch along with was mentioning how none of the belts in AEW to him feel like they have a lot of prestige, and I understand why he made that comment. And so I responded with, Like, why are we having this match? We've got a legit trios tag team with one of the most random pairings of 3 wrestlers I think I could ever possibly come up with. And I said, why don't we just get Malachi versus Copeland and trim away all the unnecessary stuff? Obviously, they have to have something to start that. So that's what we got with this match. By the time this match was over, I was completely. I'm like, okay, now we're gonna get. I love that they had Malachi pin Adam, and I think this is just beginning. Like, we're gonna get something special with these two. I have a feeling. I want to know what that mist was, because the human mouth can only hold so much liquid, and when he sprayed Adam Copeland, the camera zooms in. I'm like, where did all of that mist come from? His head, it was all in his beard, it was on his back, it was all the way down his whole entire torso. I've never seen somebody covered in that much mist, and it looked like there was like, it was like gritty, like there was sand or something in it. It was very strange substance. I'm like, that was crazy to me. But I wonder if this is gonna, every time somebody gets misted by the House of Black, they go a little dark, don't they?
Sometimes, yeah.
So I wonder what they're going. I wonder what if there's going to be any adverse effects from the mist in terms of Adam Copeland's character. Maybe that will play out over time after we start getting, like, once we get the first match with him at the next pay-per-view. Maybe it'll start to draw out to be like a torture thing, like where they're just in the heads of Adam Copeland, and he's on this dark, maybe something like how he was in the, yes, Midmost Mark. I was just thinking Brood.
And you know why this match was made, right? Like, it's not just a random trio here, because every single one of the individuals on Copeland's team, they all have history with the House of Black. Kingston had history with the House of Black because Brody beat him in the Continental Classic. Brody was the one that kind of started Eddie Kingston's rise to the top towards winning the Continental Crown. And then you got Briscoe, who's been feuding with the House of Black since the beginning of the year, because when the House of Black attacked Daniel Garcia when they were feuding with FTR, FTR turned to Briscoe, and the House of Black took out Briscoe. Briscoe then came back and cost the House of Black a steel cage match. So they've been feuding for a while. I would not mind seeing 3 different matches branch off. I wouldn't mind seeing Buddy and Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World title, and I wouldn't mind seeing Kingston and Brody for the New Japan Strong Championship, at least before Eddie Kingston loses it to Gabe Kidd, which I believe he will. That's at Resurgence on May 11th, and I do believe that Gabe Kidd is going to win the IWGP, or excuse me, the New Japan Strong Openweight World Championship. I do believe that Gabe Kidd is going to beat Eddie Kingston. So before then, if we want to get another Eddie versus Brody match, I wouldn't mind that.
I think I saw them said, I noticed that little detail as House of Black was walking backwards up the ramp. Brody King said, "Eddie, I always have your number," and I thought, oh, here we go. Set that up. I'm for the. I'd be good with that. You know what I mean?
Oh no, absolutely. And then put it on the Daily's Place episode. This was Wednesday. You already got Moxley. What'd you say?
Sorry, I was gonna say, what are your thoughts? Back to what I was saying about May. I don't know if they're going to have Adam over time turn a little bit darker. I know that the end result is usually like what happened with Julia Hart. She got misted and then left. What's their names? The Hollywood Blondes? No, what was their the Varsity Blondes? Sorry, the Hollywood Blondes was the original team from back in the day. And she went dark and then ended up joining House of Black. I don't think that Adam Copeland's going to do anything like join the House of Black. I mean, maybe, but what if they do this slow turn over time where he's misted and he's going towards the dark side per se, but maybe this is some way to reunite him and Christian?
I mean, I honestly don't know, because, the patriarchy, they've been out. I'm not sure what they're going to do with them. I'm assuming that they should be telling the story of Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, and then Luchasaurus is going to break away from Christian Cage. But I don't know. I
Is
honestly,
Christian injured? Is he just taking time off? Does anybody know?
maybe he is taking time off. I haven't heard any injury report on him.
Yeah. Because I thought he would play a factor into something last night.
No, we didn't need that. We needed Copeland to lose clean, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, so they're completely going away from Christian trying to get his TNT title back. Then that means
I think that he's going to blame Luchasaurus, and then they're going to
eventually it'll come full circle back to Christian and Edge. And I'm just wondering if it'll be in terms of a feud, or by the time we get there, like however long this thing with Malachi and Edge is going to play out over the rest of the year, and then by the time we get back around to Edge and Christian, maybe it's in a form of a reuniting or something. I'm not sure.
They're going to have to reunite. Like, dude,
Yeah.
we need Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTR. We need Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus the Young Bucks. We need Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus the House of Black versus Aussie Open versus whoever, Blackpool Combat Club. We need that. We need that. It's going to happen. But for now, it's a TNT title feud with Malachi and Copeland, and it was the perfect setup match that they could have done, and I'm very, very happy that it went down the way that it went down. Speaking of the House of Black and Julia Hart fought Willow Nightingale. This was for the TBS Championship. This was very quick. This was very, very, very fast. 6 minutes, in and out. Willow Nightingale and Julia Hart. It was a very basic, standard AEW Rampage match that they put on a pay-per-view. Although, realistically, it was probably the best match to put on the show after those first two matches. The crowd was actually still lively for Willow, so I will give them that. The crowd did not slow down all night. Crowd was lively from beginning to end. They did not once sound like they were falling asleep. And they popped for Willow winning. But it was a very standard, very basic Rampage match. I'm happy for Willow. I'm glad that she won. She won with the Dr. Bomb or the Babe with the Power Bomb, whatever the fuck they're calling it. Willow wins, as she should. Although, I can't help but feel as though they should have given it to Julia, because at least with Julia has some time with the TBS Championship. And Julia being the one to transfer it over to Mercedes, that would have just cut out the unnecessary transitional championship reign that Willow Nightingale is ultimately going to get, because Willow realistically deserves a hell of a lot better than that. If you wanted to, you could have easily just booked a rematch from last year's Death Before Dishonor with Willow and Athena, because Athena's still the Ring of Honor World Champion. You could have done Death Before Dishonor in July, and you could have just given Athena's title reign to Willow. Maybe they might still do that, I'm not sure. But you could have just done that instead of giving Willow this transitional championship title reign, because now we got the match at Double or Nothing. It's going to be a great match. I fully expect it to be a great match. But Willow deserves a hell of a lot better than just being a transitional champion. And in addition to that, why is Mercedes getting a championship title reign when we have a ranking system in play? I don't give a fuck if she's a big name or not. I understand you want to get a title on Mercedes because, let's be honest, Mercedes is going to take it everywhere. She's going to take it to the red carpet. She's going to take it on all these fucking interviews. Mercedes is going to be a major, and I mean a major asset in terms of getting the women's division more exposure and giving the women's division a shot of adrenaline in terms of work rate. I know, but that doesn't mean that you need to put her in a match right out of the gate and it's for a championship. Maybe if Mercedes was on TV for the last month wrestling and winning matches and then she gets a championship match, maybe if she was on a 4 or 5 match winning streak, maybe it would have made a little bit more sense. But it's not fair to Willow Nightingale. Ultimately, they're doing this because this is the better match, and this is ultimately going to be a statement match for Mercedes Moné, and that's pretty much it. And I don't want to hear the excuse that she's injured. No, she's not fucking injured. If she's able to walk, if she's able to go out there and get physical, if she's able to do her finisher, if she's able to wield a steel chair, she can take bumps. Mercedes Moné should not be in a championship match unless she is on a win streak. I know that she's going to help the division, but that doesn't mean that you get to put her in a big-time matchup just based on her star power alone. That is what I have a problem. I mean, for fuck's sake, Okada wrestled more matches than Mercedes did before Okada got a championship match. Okada at least wrestled a couple of matches before he was given a championship. I'm not saying that you need to wait 7-8 months before you give Mercedes a title, but holy fuck. This is fucking really irritating, dude. That's what really pissed me off about the entire situation. Now, we're going to get a great match, but Willow deserves better, and Mercedes should not just be gifted titles based on her star power that she gained over in the WWE.
I have criticisms.
I'm listening.
Immediately I thought, since AEW does all of this inter-promotion mingling with Ring of Honor and New Japan, and they throughout all their shows sprinkle Ring of Honor in on a weekly basis, why can't they sprinkle Athena in? Why is
She
she
was
only
just on
on
Battle of the Belts.
What's that?
She was just on Battle of the Belts. That's their extra hour of programming where they have like 3 title matches. She defended the Ring of Honor Women's World title against Red Velvet in the main event of Battle of the Belts the other week.
And how many people watch that?
Somewhere between 300 and 400,000, but again, that's irrelevant.
Well, put her on the fucking pay-per-view.
They need to get that title off of her.
So that was my first thought. And then it's a great match, I thought, for what it was. I like Willow the more and more I see her, and I was primarily focused on her. I don't have very high expectations at this point of Julia Hart's career because I understand how young she is and how brand new to the business she is. I think for me, the right outcome was Willow getting that TBS title. I think that with her holding it, they can do more with it, because I think that Julia Hart is still learning and growing, and this is like her losing this title is not a knock on her, for me anyways, but it was the right outcome. However, when we get to Mercedes Moné, I see Princess Skywalker's in the chat, and she said Mercedes is injured still. I beg to differ. I beg to differ, and I feel like Skywalker, not to single you out, but I feel like you know your stuff well enough to know that when a wrestler gets into the ring, they're cleared. Like, you can say all you want to that they're not cleared, but you're not allowed in the ring if you're not medically cleared to go. Whether you're in a physical, but whether you're booked in a physical spot or not, you don't go in the ring if you're not cleared. That's just how that's the name of the game. That's how it's always been.
Well, I don't think Adam Cole is cleared, but he showed up. I don't think Adam Cole is cleared yet. I think he'll be cleared by Forbidden Door.
We'll get to that later. But I also feel like they've been pushing Willow, and that's been obvious. To have Mercedes Moné come out in her full introduction with all the heelish tendencies that she was displaying, I just felt like it really, like, I wanted Willow to have her moment, and I felt like obviously that's done by design. Obviously, when we get this match, it's going to be heel Moné versus face Nightingale. Oh, yes. Maybe. I mean, she could be the one that turned. I know a lot of people were saying that Willow's going to turn heel, but I just don't see that. I see, if anything, Statlander dressed the part to turn heel, and I thought maybe if they finish the storyline with who attacked Willow out in that parking lot, maybe it's going to come out that it's Chris Statlander.
Yes.
I can see that happening, but I was really just bummed out. I feel like they're giving us way too much Moné without any without any wrestling, and her promo ability is, I've not seen any improvement. They've got to take that CEO out of her theme song, that chant of CEO. Let the fans do it organically if they want, but that CEO is all I hear is EGO actually when I hear CEO, and I'm already We got people in the chat talking about they're tired of her already. I'm starting to feel the same. I think it's an absolute detriment to Mercedes Moné to make us wait another full month before we get to see her in the ring. And they can say at the scrum all they want that she's still injured, yada, yada, yada.
She's better as a heel.
I don't agree with
She's not a good
Moné.
babyface
She's
promo.
Sasha Banks on AEW. She's doing all the same shit, just under a different name, and it's missing me. So until we get a true, more established version of what her character is going to be, I hope there's something else to it than just what we're seeing, because it's going to, people are already growing sour on it, and I just hate that she ruined Willow's moment.
The first couple promos were fine. I will say that. Look, listen,
Yeah.
the first couple promos were fine.
But that's all she's doing, and there's no in-ring work, and then we get
there's no substance.
And then they bring back the rankings, and then she's not had a single fucking match, and she's the #1 contender, but yet she's injured. What?
Yeah, exactly.
So the rankings are what? A joke?
Listen, the chant is fine, but she needs to be a heel. She's better as a heel. When she's a heel, she cuts better promos. When she's a babyface, it depends on who she's with. And if she's with the right person, then she'll be able to cut better promos as a babyface. But if you're putting
her like it's lazy booking,
she's a heel.
Do you feel like it's lazy booking if they reveal that Mercedes is the one that attacked Willow in the parking lot?
Extremely.
Yes.
Extremely.
And I feel like something tells me that's the way they're going to go. And that's how they're going to turn Mercedes heel.
It needs to be Chris Statlander. And Mercedes, it needs to be revealed that the woman that attacked her is Britt Baker. Britt Baker is the one that attacked Mercedes. That is the best.
I agree with you in terms of scenario, but for me, I need it to be Hayter.
Then who's going to fight Toni Storm? Who's going to fight Toni Storm? You're going to give us Baker versus Toni Storm again? Meanwhile, we have loose ends to tie up with Hayter and Storm.
True.
Hayter is going to get her moment at All In. She should get her moment at All In, and she should win the championship back that Toni Storm beat her for.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying like I would have a problem if it was Britt Baker. I just miss me some Jamie Hayter really, really bad. That's all that is.
You're going to get Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm at All In. If it wasn't going to be Mercedes versus Toni, it was going to be Jamie.
You don't think that they're trying to save Jamie Hayter for a big moment in front of her people at Wembley? Oh yeah, you said All In. Sorry, I was thinking Double or Nothing. My fault.
No, they are. Yeah, Toni Storm is not going to lose that title at least until All In.
Yeah,
Toni Storm's going to remain champion for a while.
Well, and rightfully so, because she kind of has the aura to me around her that Rhea Ripley had around her in WWE. Like, there should be nobody realistically, like, pairing Toni Storm up with anybody in their current form in the women's division does not seem realistic that she would lose a title in a match to me.
Although,
maybe if they built
Thunder Rosa won.
I wouldn't mind if the Thunder Rosa won, but there needs to be a longer build up for me before she would take the title off of Toni Storm. So yeah, she needs to keep that title until someone feels like they realistically got a shot at beating her.
Yeah. But yeah, the two big women's matches for All In, it's going to be Baker versus Monet, and it's going to be Jamie Hayter versus Toni. That's where they're going for the two singles women's championships. I mean, there's nobody else.
That's going to be a crazy match at Wembley.
That was pretty much that. I really hope that after Double or Nothing, I really, really, really hope that we get some solid direction. We get heel Monet, and we get ourselves some solid direction with the TBS Championship, and Mercedes Moné is competing consistently, and she's elevating that championship. They're going to have to. After she wins the title, because she's going to win, they're going to have to put forth some solid direction there.
I also don't like that not only did Mercedes kind of overshadow and ruin and take away Willow's moment, then they flashed a graphic of their match that they're having at Double or Nothing already. So to me, it's like, so then what's the point of seeing anything to do with the women up until Double or Nothing then? They missed me with that whole ending sequence last night. They really did. And I felt bad for Willow because I feel like She's over enough with the crowd. I would change a couple of things about her presentation. I would make her graphic and her music a lot less reminiscent of Bailey's NXT gimmick. But I love Willow, and she's so good. She really is. Right outcome.
I really hope that they do give her something after Mercedes wins. Like they're gonna have to give her Athena. They're gonna have to. Like, because Athena needs to lose that fucking title. We need Athena to lose that fucking title, and we need Athena on AEW TV, because after All In, you should be building towards Mercedes versus Athena for the TBS championship.
Because we all know how great Athena is, but it's not helping to add any prestige to that title by having her be a gatekeeper.
Well, to be fair, here's what I will say. To be fair, Athena right now is infinitely better than what Roman Reigns was doing. I'm going to throw this out there. Like, after WrestleMania 39, Roman Reigns just completely fell off the rails. Athena, on the other hand, still, to this day, she's approaching the halfway point to Roman's reign. I think she's almost at 500. She is still performing at a high level. She is still...
Yeah, but she's only had, like, what, maybe 10 matches?
No, she's had a lot more than that. She's been competing almost every single week on Ring of Honor TV, whether it's a championship match or a proving ground match. I can name you a lot of people she's beaten, whether it's Yuka Sakazaki, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, Diamante, Kiera Hogan, Red Velvet, Billy Starks, Nyla Rose, and Hikaru Shida, and numerous amounts of other individuals. So here's the thing, and Mercedes Martinez. So she's going out there and she is defending the title consistently. She's putting on great matches, but the problem is that we're at a point
no one's seeing them
to lose it.
Yeah, but no one's seeing these matches.
That's not necessarily true. A lot of people are seeing it. A lot of people on social media are.
I'm saying if you take the entirety of the IWC that's even remotely more interested than just watching weekly and being a casual fan, if you take like someone like me, for instance, like I watch more than the average person, and I don't even watch, like I don't subscribe to Honor Club, and that's the only way you're going to see Athena. So I feel like in terms of the overall scope of the IWC, the people that have Honor Club subscriptions it's got to be just a small chunk. There's no way that.
But when did the amount of viewers determine what is good and what is not? Like metrics don't mean shit.
No, I'm not saying metrics determines what's good and what's not. I'm saying Athena's so good, she needs to be in front of the world.
I know that's what I'm pretty much saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're at a point right now where
she's had this epic long title run, and I've missed most of it, unless she's on Ring of Honor pay-per-view, because I'll watch those, but I don't watch weekly Ring of Honor.
Well, that's why she needs to lose it. That's why she needs to lose it, and she's going to have to lose it at Death Before Dishonor. I don't know against who, but they better build up someone. They're going to have to either Statlander or it's Willow. And to be quite honest with you, I'd much rather have it be Willow because it's a one-year story.
Yeah. I just would rather see a feud between Statlander and Willow.
Well, here's the thing. If things play out, then we get Willow going into Death Before Dishonor and Willow beats Athena, then we got ourselves a championship for Willow and Statlander to fight over.
True.
Speaking of championships, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, AEW International Championship. This was pretty fucking physical. Pretty fucking physical. If I do say so myself, you knew it was going to be physical. And both of these guys, I mean, they're friends in real life. So you knew for a fact that they were going to bring the fucking heat. It took them a little bit. It took them a little bit to get the crowd back into it. But they ended up delivering a very good match by the end of it. Wasn't really a blowaway match, but for what it was, both men were on point with what they were doing. No fuck-ups, no botches, no slip-ups. And we got ourselves not only a very good match, but we got ourselves another layer to the Wardlow-Adam Cole storyline after what happened once the match was over. The only thing that I hated about this is the fact that this was Roderick Strong's first title defense. That's fucking ridiculous. You know what they should have done? And this is the thing that WWE has. This is the same problem that WWE has with Cody Rhodes. They haven't built up anyone credible to go face-to-face with Cody Rhodes. And do not give me the fucking excuse that AJ Styles is credible. AJ Styles has been booked like a fucking bum for the last 2.5 years, ever since he jobbed out to Omos in 2021. Roderick Strong, he beat Orange Cassidy, and then from that point on, he was competing in mere eliminator matches until we got this match with Kyle O'Reilly, after Kyle O'Reilly got himself a decent amount of wins under his belt. That's a fucking problem. We need more challengers. We need more title defenses, because that is what is ultimately going to make the title prestigious. The title becomes prestigious because of an individual that goes out there, competes in these competitive matches, wins convincingly. Roderick Strong did that here, but it feels like now is just when Strong's title reign is just getting started. Like that is not right. That's a fucking problem. Other than that, it was as good as you were going to get. Very physical, two best friends. They put on a very nice, very well-paced match. The crowd was into it for the last 5 to 6 minutes, which is great. And Adam Cole returned, and he's no longer in a walking boot, and he's no longer bound to a wheelchair. He can walk, and I can only take that as a good sign. So I'm going to hand it over to you in a little bit. We're going to go over everything that happened, and then I'll let you say what you're going to say.
All right.
So this was very ground-based, technical holds early on. O'Reilly had the early advantage. Roderick Strong came in with a calf kick, and then he targeted the shoulder, did O'Reilly. O'Reilly targeted the shoulder of Strong. O'Reilly went for a guillotine, and Roderick Strong caught him in midair of the guillotine and delivered a backbreaker. Fucking love Roderick Strong's backbreakers. Roderick Strong then with some nasty chops. O'Reilly answered back with some forearms. Strong with an Irish curse backbreaker and a torture rack backbreaker. So I believe that's like the 4th or 5th backbreaker that we've seen in this match. That got a 2 count. O'Reilly then delivered a nice leg sweep combo. We had a forearm in the corner. Heel hook locked in. Strong got to the bottom rope. Strong delivered an Olympic slam. Strong with some rapid fire elbows off the rope. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strong then was hung up on the ropes by his leg. I'm surprised he didn't fucking tear his ACL with this. And O'Reilly delivered a guillotine knee flying off the top to Strong, which looked great. We had a diving knee to the knee by O'Reilly. O'Reilly then locked in the knee bar. Strong was able to kick his way out of it. Both men tried for some elbows back and forth. Strong with a backbreaker again. O'Reilly kicked out. We then had a big superplex by Strong. O'Reilly then countered into a cradle, and they were able to get out of it. So Strong, he ran the ropes. O'Reilly then with the Dean Ambrose rebound lariat, both men with double lariats, and they both go down. The crowd is starting to show some respect. We had a high knee by Roderick Strong. Both men are down again. Crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." Strong then catapulted O'Reilly into the ropes, and then he had a shoulder twist on the apron. Strong got his shoulder twisted on the apron. His shoulder fell right into the apron, which looked nasty. I'm surprised that didn't pop out of socket. Now is where O'Reilly looked like he was going to win the title, but then Wardlow came out. The referee spotted him, so Wardlow obviously was spotted, and it caused a little bit of a distraction. O'Reilly then tried to take advantage with a rebound lariat and a brainbuster, but Strong was able to kick out. Strong was then locked in an armbar. Strong got to the ropes. Strong then was able to deliver a big drop kick right to the back of O'Reilly, and then he delivered a beautiful and brutal end of heartache. 1, 2, 3. Roderick Strong retains the International Championship. Rightfully so. Very good match, very physical, but the big spot in this match happened after the match was over. We had Mike Taven, Matt Bennett, and Adam Cole. They were on the apron, on the rampway, and Adam Cole was in the wheelchair. He stood up, crowd popped. He was walking down to the ring completely fine. He didn't look like he was in pain. Everyone entered the ring. Adam Cole gave the side eye to Wardlow. He looked severely disappointed in Wardlow as everyone was celebrating with Strong, as Wardlow legitimately looked pissed off. The only thing that I was thinking of is the exile. The exile of Wardlow is coming sooner rather than later. HooliGrim, ball is in your court. What you got for me?
This was a good match. I knew just from watching them for years in NXT, I knew these two were going to, being that they're close friends in real life, I knew that they were going to pretty much beat the shit out of each other, and that's what they did. They're both very stiff workers. They're known for that. Roderick Strong is very believable in the ring, and the way that he can just do backbreakers out of thin air is truly amazing to watch. I really, really liked this match. I know the history between these guys and stuff, but for me there was something just missing in terms of investment.
There wasn't enough buildup.
Yeah. I think I knew going into it, like when the match was going on, like O'Reilly's been out for the better part of 2 years. There's no way if they have him beat Strong now, it's going to make that title, it's not going to do anything good for that title. So I knew Strong was winning the match, which I don't like when I know, when I can't suspend my disbelief in terms of like knowing right away who's going to win. But that being said, I think also when it annoyed me that Wardlow came out. I get why they do it, but it annoyed me because, for one, I wanted to see these two guys just have a good one-on-one match because of their history. Wardlow coming out, I'm like, I mean, when's the last time we saw Wardlow since the show right after Revolution? I've not seen him. I don't know if they've been putting him on Collision or Rampage because I don't watch those two.
He was on Supercard. He helped Taven and Bennett retain the tag team titles over the Infantry.
Oh, right. That's what I meant. Sorry. But we have not seen Wardlow. At least I haven't seen Wardlow since then. So here he shows up on the pay-per-view, and I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Cole, again, if he's not cleared, why is he getting in the ring in any capacity? I know it's to just walk around and hold Roderick Strong's arm up in victory, but still, I mean.
Well, here's the thing. It's a little different for someone who's just getting in the ring versus someone in Monet who actually got physical. That's the difference. Adam Cole hasn't gotten physical yet. But as far as Adam Cole goes, I'm guessing that they did this to kind of tell everyone that, hey, he's going to come back soon.
They had to visually give us Cole giving that look behind Wardlow's back. And if you notice, when Cole's getting into the ring, not only is he given the death stare to Wardlow, he keeps it on him. And when Wardlow looks over his shoulder and looks at Adam Cole, you notice Adam Cole look away and keep walking, like he tries to play it off like he wasn't just standing there staring Wardlow down. And then Wardlow's getting ready to leave the ring, and then we get Adam Cole staring at him again, looking at him some type of the way right as he's following him out of the ring. So they had to give us that visual, which I understand, but glad Adam Cole is about to be back, and we can advance whatever storyline that they've been a part of that's just been seemingly on pause for I don't know how many months now.
4 months, because MJF is not there. Now, yeah. I don't think Adam Cole is cleared yet, but if he's walking fine, then I'm assuming give him a couple more months and he should be back to 100%. I think that after Forbidden Door, that's when he should be fully cleared. And at Forbidden Door, I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say that's when we will see the return of MJF. That is when we will see the return of MJF. It's in the UBS Arena in Long Island. It's his home fucking town.
Who excommunicates Wardlow?
Adam Cole, because he's the leader.
So he's gonna have a match with Wardlow at some point, you think?
No, I think that
They just beat him down
ultimately,
and get rid of him
no,
in the
I
segment?
think that ultimately what we could have is maybe we see Wardlow get excommunicated within the next month or so, and then maybe we build towards Wardlow versus Roderick Strong for the international championship at Forbidden Door. Then we see Strong retain, and then they're all just beating down Wardlow, and then MJF comes out, and then we're off to the races because we got the Undisputed Kingdom in there, right? We got the Undisputed Kingdom. We got 4 guys in the Undisputed Kingdom. Wardlow is about to be excommunicated. MJF comes back. You bring in FTR, and then you got a nice 4-on-4 match right there. It's a reunited Pinnacle versus the Undisputed Kingdom. Because MJF, he needs friends.
Do you think, like Midmost Mark in the chat is saying, like, I thought Wardlow was gonna come out and just destroy somebody, meaning Kyle O'Reilly, but he didn't. Do you think that's because of the car accident he was involved before the show started? On his way to the arena, he posted on Twitter the mangled up Cadillac that he was driving that got completely crunched.
I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think that whatever happened was how it was.
Why did he come out? Why did he come out?
I'm guessing he came out because the referee was going to catch him. And remember what Adam Cole said. Adam Cole said, like, it's your job to protect the investment. Wardlow didn't do anything. Strong won on his own.
That's
Wardlow
what I'm saying. What was the point of Wardlow then?
Because
That's why I asked if him doing nothing was.
If Adam Cole gave him a job to protect the investment and Wardlow did nothing to help Strong and Strong had to do it on his own, even though Strong can do it on his own, Adam Cole gave Wardlow instructions and
Right.
Wardlow could
But
not
this
live
just
up
makes
to the
Wardlow look like big dumb bozo.
Well, now it's Adam Cole. Now Adam Cole is going to get on Wardlow's back for fucking up. Wardlow fucked up. Wardlow, he failed to beat Joe, and he fucked up here. Now Adam Cole's going to get sick and tired of Wardlow fucking up.
It just didn't. In terms of, it did nothing for Wardlow, but just make him look goofy to me.
Well, they're going to have to keep the momentum on Wardlow following what happened here because...
And that's the other thing, too. It's like we see Wardlow on a pay-per-view and then not at all till the next pay-per-view. It's like, what the fuck?
Because I feel like right now he's just a background player until MJF comes back. Because once MJF comes back, he's going to be paired with Wardlow. And once again, they're going to be a duo that's going to be, instead of heels, they're going to be baby faces.
Because he comes out there like to make an impact and then literally does fuck all.
Adam Cole's getting pissed off with Wardlow's fuck-ups. That's pretty much all I can chalk it up to.
So unless Wardlow says like that was done on purpose by him, doesn't really make sense. It, like I said, it makes him look dumb.
No. I think that Wardlow was supposed to do something, but the referee caught him. That's what I mean. Wardlow was supposed to do something, but the referee caught him. That's the story that they were telling. Wardlow was going to do something to Kyle O'Reilly, but the referee spotted him, and Wardlow ultimately couldn't do anything because the referee spotted him, and that's why Adam Cole gave him the side eye. That's what I mean.
Got you.
But again, Adam Cole's back. I can only imagine that he's walking. That's a good sign that we're very, very close to his in-ring return. And when he does come back, we're going to get Adam Cole versus MJF at Wembley without the championship, and that's going to be MJF's revenge.
I liked Adam Cole's shirt he was wearing. It was half his face and then half the devil mask.
Oh, I love that shit. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool shirt.
It really does suck, though, that, MJF went down with injury because MJF was going to be the guy that really helped the Undisputed Kingdom feel more important, but they got no babyface to bounce their heel magnitude off of. They got no one.
I'll talk about this now as opposed to when we get to it. Just a small little detail. I honestly thought during the ladder match with the Bucks and FTR, for 3 seconds when I saw movement in the crowd and he comes running into the ring, I thought that was the devil mask.
Oh yeah, I actually thought it was a stone mask.
It totally threw me off that when he pulls it off and reveals who it was. I was like, wait, what? And then I realized, oh, that's not the devil mask. I was like, it totally I saw the devil mask for some reason. I don't know what
I
that was.
kind of saw it like in the crowd, but as he got closer, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a Sting mask.
Mm.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but
Yeah.
we're coming to the final 5 matches of the show here.
We're
Hope
still
you guys are all having a good time. 28 people watching so far. Good
Wow.
shit. 28
Nice.
people across 4 platforms watching so far. If
Thank you,
haven't already
guys.
done so, people, please make sure you hit those super chats, hit those super thanks, hit those super stickers. Make sure you share the stream out. Become a channel member. We got a lot of good shit coming your way throughout the month of April and going into May and June. We got plenty of fucking pay-per-views to dissect. It is going to be fucking good. I'm telling you, it will be.
My YouTube timeline is filling up rapidly with all your stream layouts.
Damn right, baby. Damn right.
Got a whole bunch of them for the next number of months. I'm like, oh wow, he's well prepared.
Oh,
Through
dude,
this
I'm
summer.
always fucking prepared. I got to get some. I actually need to get a guest for the rewind for Double or Nothing. I think I have someone for my guest. I actually want to collaborate with Slam Pigs podcast, aka Travis. He's a good dude. I want to get him on the show for Clash at the Castle rewind. So I'm hoping I can get him. Maybe I'll have you back on for Forbidden Door.
Nice.
So moving from there, we go into Chris Jericho versus Hook. This is an FTW rules match for the FTW championship. Now, I'm going to say the same thing that I said earlier. I would not have put this match on the show in any way, shape, or form. I would have saved this match for Dynamite in 2 days. This should have been the Dynamite match. However, I will give both men credit because this match actually turned out a lot better than I could have expected. The crowd was hot for it. Jericho was on point. Hook was on point. I cannot sit here and say that it wasn't a decent match because they went in there and I thought this was going to be a full-blown fucking piss break match. But in the end, the match did not turn out to be a disaster. And that in itself, I would say, is a victory. So if I see any match on WWE, AEW, New Japan, if I see any match that I'm presuming is going to be a disaster and it turns out to be decent, I'm fair and I will give my credit where credit is due. But the problem is, and it's been the problem probably since Revolution, I would say, maybe even a little bit before that. The problem with Jericho isn't the fact that he's not good. He is good. He's put on some damn good matches this year. He's put on some damn good matches with Seidel, with Takeshita, with Kyle Fletcher, with Hook himself. He's put on some damn good matches. He can still cut a promo. He's still very, very good when he's given the opportunity to be. But the problem is that he feels like he's done everything there is to do. He's hit a wall. Jericho has hit a wall to a point where nothing he does on television genuinely feels important. He's just there. He's just there to a point where it's got people questioning, well, why is he on television if he's not adding anything? It's not necessarily hurting TV, but he's not adding anything to television when you could have given this spot to someone else. So let's go over
Funny
the
you
match.
say that. We've all hit the wall of Jericho.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. We all ran straight into the walls of Jericho. But let's go over this match, and then we'll talk about what is going to happen and what should happen following this match. Because I don't think that Hook is going to be without a championship for long. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with the rumors that he wants to explore free agency. I'm not sure when his contract is up. I don't know when his contract is up. We're going to have to wait and see, but because I don't think that this is going to be the end of it. So, crowd was booing the shit out of Jericho. The crowd was great during this match. St. Louis was fucking awesome during this match. This match may have been the match where I was thoroughly enthralled with what the crowd was doing. The crowd was awesome during this match. So the crowd started chanting, "Fozzy sucks." I laughed at that. I like Fozzy, but I thought that was funny.
I actually, when I was doing the watch along, I was saying in this moment when the crowd was booing, I said, "Oh, St. Louis is St. Louis is in the fields. They're all sad they didn't get to sing along to Judas.
so Hook with some suplexes. We had a diving forearm off the apron. Jericho then smashed Hook onto the announce table right in front of Taz. That I enjoyed. Jericho then brought out a table. Hook then German suplexed Chris Jericho on the floor. He took a trash can lid and then flew off of the stairs and just bashed Jericho in the head with the aluminum trash can lid, which looked very nice. Jericho then DDT'd Hook on the lid. This was a great spot right here. This was one of my favorite spots of the night. And Jericho, he got some air on this. Hook T-bone suplexed Jericho off of the apron. Jericho flew through the air and he landed back first through the table. And the way that the table just exploded around Jericho, I thought that was a great fucking spot. Again, listen, you may be sick of what he's doing, but Jericho, he doesn't have to go out there and take those fucking bumps at his age, and he's still going out there and taking those high-risk bumps at his age. So
yeah, but it's like watching Ric Flair take bumps at his age when we were all like, Ric Flair is 10 years past the point of us seeing him in the ring. Now, I'm not saying Jericho's at that point yet, but it's starting to get to the feel of like, you can just tell, like everything he does in the ring now. I just watched a match with original WCW Lionheart Chris Jericho a few days ago, and obviously 30 years later you don't move nearly as quickly in the ring, and I just feel like there's just something about Jericho's work rate in AEW over the last year where, like when he first came into AEW, he was still coming off of like that momentum he had when he was doing the Summer of Friendship with Kevin Owens in WWE, and then he transitions into AEW and helps them get off the ground. And I felt like we were still seeing Jericho. And now I just feel like we're watching a guy that's struggling to, he just looks like he's moving in slow motion in the ring to me now.
I mean, his matches with Fletcher and Takeshita this year were very, very good. Like, I don't think you can discredit him there. Because
and I'm not discrediting him, because I've been on record as saying that for me, I've got to go ahead and add a fifth head to the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling in terms for what he's done over the course of his entire career spanning 3 major companies. And I called him multiple times in the last year Jared Goat because of what he's meant to the industry and how he can seemingly always revitalize himself and change his persona and make himself relevant for the current time that we're in. So I'm not discrediting anything about Chris Jericho. I just feel like what you were saying, for me, this match, I would have left this. I would have actually not gone with Trent Beretta and Matt Sydal, and I would have put this match on the pre-show, if at all, like you said, leave it off of the show until a Dynamite.
I mean, that was probably the best route to just put on a Dynamite. Still, much better match than I could have expected. So after that bump, after that great spot, back in the ring, we had the crowd chanting "Holy shit" after that T-bone suplex. Crowd was chanting, "Go home, Jericho. Go home, St. Louis." Gotta love St. Louis. Jericho,
at one point they chanted, "Please retire."
Please retire. It was like I was watching fucking Big Show from 2015. Unbelievable.
He was moving like Big Show, not gonna lie.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
He was moving like Jarrah Slow. I was calling him yesterday on the watch along. He was going Jarrah Slow.
All right, so I'll let you slide with the Jarrah Slow, but I wouldn't say he's Paul White bad. I wouldn't go that far.
No, I don't mean he's bad. I just mean in terms of, you know how Paul White just looks like a slug crawling through the mud, and Jericho just seemed like he was really struggling to keep pace. And then also he's a little bit heavier than he used to be in his prime at this stage of his career, and I felt like with Hook, I feel he's kind of pigeonholed right now in terms of growth where he's at in this spot in the company. And I would like to see them move away from, we know he's Taz's son, but I'd like to see him get away from all the different types of suplexes. I thought at some point Hook looked kind of gassed last night too from all the suplexes he was trying to do on Jericho. A couple of them, once they got kind of sweaty, looked like they slipped, and there were some botches there, and not knocking them for that. I think it was a mixture of reasons why that happened, but I'd like to see them move away from Son of Taz type of Hook, and maybe that's why he's shedding the FTW belt now, and we'll have to see how this plays out. Maybe he is planning on exploring NXT like the rumors have been. I think he would suit well to go be with some kids of his age and get around some people more his learning level that he can grow with, so that when he's ready in 5 years, 10 years from now, he's got all these current wrestlers that also came up with him that he's potentially having these feuds with,
Well, if things do indeed go according to plan, I think that Hook is going to beat Jericho again at some point, and then he'll probably retire the FTW championship, because after All In, I think we really need to start putting Hook in a scenario where he is fighting for other championships. I mean, we already got the match with Samoa Joe, which made Hook look like a fucking star. But now I think that it's time that we explore other avenues. Maybe put him in the ring with an Okada, put him in the ring with a Strong. If it's not Daniel Garcia that beats Roderick Strong, I wouldn't mind seeing Hook beat Strong. It all depends on if he is indeed deciding to explore free agency. I don't know. But moving on with this match, Jericho with a Hurricane Rana off the top. Hook put Jericho in a trash can and suplexed Jericho with the trash can on his head, which I actually thought, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I thought that was...
I haven't, and I thought he was trying to get him all the way over, but he didn't, and so I just thought, oh my God, I was worried for Jericho inside that trash can for a second.
So that was a nice spot. Jericho with a code breaker. Crowd chanted, "Please retire." Jericho missed a fist drop. Hook locked in a red rum, and Jericho drove himself and Hook through a table set up in the corner. Hook was locked in the walls of Jericho, but Hook wouldn't tap. Red rum locked in again. Jericho with a low blow. Jericho apologized, delivered a Judas effect. Hook kicked out. Jericho delivered a second Judas effect. Hook kicked out again. So at this point,
I think they said that was only the second. Hook was only the second person to do that.
Yeah, the first one I believe was Jon Moxley, and I think that Hook kicked out of it twice, though.
Yeah,
so
back Judas effects.
So they made him look strong. I will say that.
Yes,
they made him look strong. Then after that, Jericho got Floyd the Bat. He told Hook to stay down. Taz was actually shown taking his headset off. Hook flipped off Jericho. And then Jericho hit him right in the face with the bat. And I mean, come on, like no one gets up from that. If Hook got up from that, then, I don't think that it would have been too believable. Hook was knocked out. 1, 2, 3. Jericho is the new FTW champion. And I have to shout out someone on X. I got to shout out Emma Kuzi. And I've been talking to her a lot. We have a lot of great conversations. She's given me a lot of great advice on how to grow my brand and how to really branch out, get some more eyes on what I'm doing. So shout out to her. She actually predicted that Jericho was going to win because she said that the feud was going to continue to last after Dynasty. That's exactly what happened. It was the right call making this an FTW rules match. Crowd was great, but in the end, like we said, Jericho has just hit a wall. And after Hook wins the title back from Jericho, which presumably I'm assuming is going to be at Double or Nothing, Jericho, after he loses to Hook, Hook needs to retire the FTW championship. And I think it's really time for Jericho to take an extended break. At least take the summer off. I don't think that we should see Chris Jericho. We should not see him on AEW TV until at least after All In. At least give us 3 months away, because at this rate, he's just not clicking. He's just not clicking. He is absolutely, he's hit a wall. He's hit a wall, and there's nothing that he could do, at least right now, there's nothing that he can do that is going to really generate some interest in him because he's done it all. He's just, at this rate, we're just questioning, well, why is he there if he's done everything there is to do and there's nothing for him to do going forward? Because what he's doing going forward, it's just going to feel like a rehash of something that he's already done because he's been around for 33 years.
My question is, why are we having a sanctioned title match for a title belt that is not recognized by the company?
It's always been an outlaw title, even in ECW.
There's too many fucking titles.
Well, that's why I said the FTW championship's going to have to be retired. Hook wins it back, and then he retires it. I thought he was going to retire it last year.
I don't remember who I predicted to win this match, but what I did predict was that something was going to happen that was going to get Taz out of the commentary booth, but not in the way that you thought. Like, I predicted that something was going to happen to where we thought Taz was going to get involved, and then he didn't. Because I've been watching Taz for a long time, and I also used to be a daily watcher and a supporter of his podcast 10 years ago. And when you're listening to somebody every day, you kind of start to understand their mindset for the business. And something just told me that he was going to make his son be a man and take that beating without interfering or without trying to, come and save him. Now, I didn't give a fuck about this pairing of Jericho and Hook from the get-go until they added Taz into the mix. Then it became intriguing to me. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see what happens here. I don't think I predicted Jericho to win just because it didn't make sense for me for him to win the FTW title belt. So I'm kind of perplexed by that. I can see why they had him win to keep this feud going. My question is we're not about to see a 52-year-old Taz come out of retirement, are we?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's got bad knees. I don't think
Right,
that
and I didn't think we are. I don't think he would. I don't think he's gonna wrestle ever again. But in terms of him standing up and taking his headset off, the crowd popped huge when he did that. But then he didn't do anything until it's over, and then he tells Chris Jericho to get out of the ring, and he's standing there on the apron, staring at his son or whatever. But he did nothing to help his son. So does
he
Hook
couldn't.
understand? Does Hook understand that? Does Hook get mad at him for that? Like, I don't know where they're gonna go with this. I'm kind of confused.
I
Because
think
I
it's
know that Taz
ultimately,
isn't going to wrestle, so what dynamic does this now add to the feud?
it's ultimately going to be a case where probably Taz gets involved. I think that Taz is going. He'll probably take like a shove. He'll probably take a shove. He'll probably take a punch. But I mean, we're not going to see Taz wrestle a full blown match. And
Right.
Jericho is ultimately going to be, the guy that pretty much coerces Hook into getting another match with him, and then
Mm-hmm.
Hook is going to finally put him down. We'll probably get that the end to this feud at Double or Nothing because they're 1-1 right now. They're 1-1. Hook is going to finally extinguish Jericho, and then he's going to retire the FTW championship. I mean, that's the only way that it needs to go. It was a much better match than expected, but again, didn't need to be on the show. And after Jericho and Hook wrap this up, Jericho's got to take a break. He has to. Like, there's nothing for him to do, and there's nothing that he is going to be involved in that is ultimately going to. There's nothing that he's going to be involved in that's ultimately going to resonate because nothing resonates right now. He's. I don't care how good he is right now because he is still good, but we've said it numerous times throughout the course of the last like 10, 15 minutes. He's hit a ceiling. He's hit a wall.
Yeah. I think everybody's just kind of burnt out on him for right now.
It's not even like his booking is bad either, because he's putting over everyone under the sun.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I can't really, like I said, I don't have nothing to criticize about him other than that he just looks very slow to me in the ring. He looks tired. I don't know what is outside of AEW. I know he's in Fozzy and who knows like what other pots he's got his hand in, but he just looks tired to me, and I agree that he needs to take a hiatus because I don't think it's doing The fans don't want to see it. He looks like I know he's trying to put people over, and I respect that. I respect that from him. But there's something about him just seems like he seems kind of checked out. Like even in that match last night, it just seems like he's kind of going through motions.
Then, I don't know if he's against this or not. I think he may be against this, but a retirement match is probably in the works at some point next year. Like at some point next year, I think that, a retirement match would probably suit him good. And then, wrap that up, do what you need to do there. Like we're probably going to get something with Bryan Danielson because he's wrestling his last full year as a pro wrestler. We're probably going to get that at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington this year. I'm assuming that it's going to be Swerve and Bryan for the world title at Tacoma Dome.
Somebody told me yesterday they saw an interview with Danielson within the last couple of days, and Danielson said his plan was to retire as a full-time wrestler, but not to be done in the ring completely.
So then he's going to take a Brock Lesnar-like schedule. Like if he is going to retire as a full-time wrestler,
it'll be like dream match scenarios, probably.
Yeah, we're not going to see him. We're not going to see him on TV as often.
Right.
So
he'll probably be backstage as a producer or a coach or a trainer or something to that effect.
Then in the end, the best possible scenario would be to do like a full-time wrap-up at the Tacoma Dome, Swerve and Bryan world title.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Final 4 matches on the show here. This is where the show went from good to great. We got Thunder Rosa and Timeless Toni Storm, AEW Women's World Championship. I said that this match needed to deliver because Toni's title reign has not been very good from an in-ring perspective. From a character perspective, it's been entertaining as all hell. But from an in-ring perspective, all of the title defenses that she's had have felt like dynamite matches.
Mm-hmm.
The match with Shida at Full Gear felt like a dynamite match. The match with Riho at World's End felt like a dynamite match. The match with Deonna Purrazzo at Revolution felt like a dynamite match. This match needed to deliver. And I'm very, very happy to say that it did indeed deliver. This was a great women's wrestling match. And easily, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best title defense of Toni Storm's timeless title reign thus far. Matter of fact, this was Toni's best match since the match with Shida back at Dynamite 200 last August. Took her a while. It took her a while, but finally, we got ourselves a great Toni Storm title defense, and I really hope that this is consistent going forward. And I don't think that Thunder Rosa is done with Toni Storm for the time being. So let's go over what happened here. Storm with some chops. Storm was caught with a Hurricane Rana by Rosa. Rosa with a twisting plancha. I don't think I've ever seen Rosa do this. Kind of like a Lucha Underground style twisting plancha off the top onto Luther and Toni Storm herself. So the crowd with dueling chants of Thunder Rosa, Toni Storm. We had a sunset flip powerbomb by Rosa. That got a 2 count. We then had a missile drop kick and a Samoan drop. Crucifix bomb. Rosa was bringing the heavy leather here. Rosa looked fantastic in this match. Crucifix bomb for a 2 count. Big hesitation drop kick and a Death Valley driver on the apron by Rosa to Toni Storm. Storm with a backstabber and a tornado DDT combination, and then a fisherman suplex for a 2 count. Rosa sold her back. Storm with a choke bomb for a 2 count. Rosa caught with a headbutt. Enziguri by Rosa. German suplex by Storm. German suplex by Rosa. Mariah May got involved, and she was on the apron before Deonna Purrazzo came out, dropped her face first on the apron, and then sent Luther into the barricade. And then the ladies, they brawled to the back. Back in the ring, Storm with a German suplex, a hip attack, and Storm 0, 1-2, Rosa kicks out, big pop. We had a Texas Cloverleaf by Toni Storm. So again, working on the back. It was in pretty deep. Rosa said she's going to hell. She got to the ropes, and Rosa was able to fight her way out, deliver a backstabber, and then she delivered a rear naked Cobra clutch. Storm was able to get to the ropes, and then she pulled the ring skirt out to distract the referee. And while the ref was fixing up the ring skirt, Storm, with a low blow on Rosa, and Gigi Dolan did indeed tweet out on Twitter, just in case anyone's wondering, yes, it hurts. So apparently it's a myth. It's a myth that everyone was getting wrong. Apparently it does hurt for women too. So we ended up getting the low blow, and then another Storm 0, 1, 2, 3. Toni Storm retains. Great match, easily the best match of Toni's timeless run so far, and I really hope that this is a consistent thing going forward. This was definitely needed. This was needed for Rosa. This was needed for Storm, and it went off without a hitch. Could not have asked for a better women's title match. Let me hear what you got to say, and then we'll go over where these two women could be headed.
There were multiple times throughout this match where I forgot I was watching Thunder Rosa because it's been a very long time since I've personally seen her in the ring, since she was out with injury and whatever else she was dealing with. So on her return, I have not been seeing her. I don't know what she's been doing on weekly TV or anything like that. So the last time I saw her, she had a much different look. So when I'm watching this match, the long blonde hair was throwing me off. And I kept having to remind myself, like, oh, yeah, like, because I'm watching this match and I'm going, God, these two women are doing excellent. And I kept forgetting that it was Thunder Rosa for like the first half of the match. And I'm like, oh, why am I surprised by this? Like, it's Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. And then another thought that just kept filling my head throughout the whole match, purely for selfish reasons, was, can we please have Toni Storm wrestle in all white every match? Because that was hot.
We have Mariah May in that checkered skirt every night.
Oh, standing on the apron with the cameraman underneath her. Please, Lord.
Deonna Purrazzo got a view.
Please, Lord. Yeah, I like this match for a number of reasons. Toni Storm, though, I'm so, the first time I ever laid eyes on wrestling was the other company, and as an 8-year-old little boy, just the vision of the first second I ever saw wrestling on my TV told a story to me. And it was Hogan and Andre in the ring staring, Hogan's looking up at him, and immediately it's David versus Goliath, right? So I didn't have to know nothing about pro wrestling to know smaller man looks like he's about to get had by much larger man, and obviously that whole story played out. So my point being, Toni Storm's character with this timeless gimmick that she's done has really set the bar and set her almost so far up, put her so far up the ladder. She's rungs on the ladder above the rest of the women, in my opinion, because of the character development, and it just adds so much to her in-ring matches when she's performing. Whereas when you go out and watch somebody like a Willow's kind of got a gimmick, but I get the sense I'm watching Willow Nightingale, the human, as opposed to watching a character. And Toni Storm obviously is playing that character, and her promo ability, the vignettes that she's been doing, she's amazing. This is probably the best I've seen her, even when she was in NXT and NXT UK, to the point where to me, nobody currently active, I'm not talking about a Britt Baker or a Jamie Hayter, we have yet to see them come back, but currently on the active roster, there's nobody in my mind that I can see them pairing her with that I would believe had a chance in beating her in a match. She's just that damn good at what she's doing right now.
Rosa had a chance, but I didn't think that she was going to win, because right now...
Right, and to your point, I feel like I was telling you before we went on the air, I can see Rosa being a believable opponent to defeat Tony Storm. But I didn't see that happening last night, because for me there's got to be something a little bit more with them two in terms of dynamic. Like something else has got to happen in order for me to believe that she could have taken the title off of her in that match last night specifically.
So here's where I see this going. Rosa and Deonna, clearly they have had some tensions brewing between each other. And Storm didn't win clean. So I can honestly see a triple threat match. I don't think that they've built up anyone else enough to get Toni Storm through the month of May. So realistically speaking, they're probably going to go based on the rankings, and they're going to do 2 out of the top 5 ranked women. It's going to be Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, and that's going to be a triple threat match. It's going to be a 3-way dance at Double or Nothing. Should be a fun match, and that is when Toni Storm is finally going to put both of them behind her. Then we'll probably get something for Forbidden Door. We'll probably get a fun little match for Door, maybe for Forbidden Door, maybe Mina Shirakawa or something like that, Azumi, whatever it may be. And then after Forbidden Door, then we're going to be off to the races for Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. I know that there's some people out there that are saying, oh, Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Listen, Mariah May, I'm going to be honest, Mariah May's actually been outshining Toni Storm from an in-ring perspective.
She's very good in the ring. I don't know nothing about her until she got to AEW. She's very good.
She is very good. And from an in-ring perspective, she was actually outshining Toni Storm up until this match. This match was needed for Toni. But does Mariah May come off as ready to you? Answer me that. She's great. But
do you know who she reminds me of?
What?
She reminds me of Tiffany Stratton.
Yes, I can see that. But
in terms of being ready, I feel like, and with Tiffany Stratton, I'm not even certain 100%. I might be more 90% on the side of Tiffany Stratton being, because it seems like they're pushing her sooner rather than later to the women's title picture. I don't know, and I feel like Mariah May is about at that level to where I can see her getting pushed. But in terms of being 100% ready, I don't know if I would say that yet. I don't know enough. I've seen more of Tiffany Stratton to make a call on her more than I've seen of a Mariah May.
In the end, I don't think that people are operating with a sense of, is this woman really ready for that spot? The answer is no. She hasn't even been in AEW for a year yet. Meanwhile, you got a big-time matchup at All In between Storm and Jamie Hayter, a match that realistically we should have gotten at All In last year, but we didn't get it. Now
Jamie Hayter was out before All In last year, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
she's been out I feel like what kind of injury could she have sustained that has kept her out this freaking long?
Shoulder injury. I'm not sure how severe it was. I really don't know how severe it was.
She must have had surgery or something, because
she did.
She's been out a very long time.
She did. So I don't understand why you would pass up Jamie Hayter and an opportunity to give her a legit women's title reign. She was in the midst of a legit women's title reign before she got hurt.
Correct.
And
it was the best title reign that AEW's seen from the women up until that point.
Yes. Up until that point, it was probably the best title reign that a women's champion's ever had. So why exactly would you deviate away from that just because Mariah May is the hot hand right now? If we're going to get Mariah May versus Toni Storm, that is going to happen after
she loses the title.
The championship. Yes.
Correct.
That's going to be without the championship.
Yeah, I totally see that.
And then Mariah, if you want to build up Mariah, she can beat Toni Storm, and then maybe, if you want to, maybe she can go and challenge either Mercedes Moné or Athena, depending on who the TBS champion is at the time. Maybe we see Mercedes Moné put over Mariah May at some point in the fall after Mariah May beats Toni Storm, And then you got Jamie Hayter as the women's champion. And sometime next year, they build towards Mercedes and Jamie Hayter for the championship, maybe at a Revolution or a Dynasty or a Double or Nothing next year. Everything will come in due time. But Mariah May, as much as I love Mariah May, trust me, as much as I love Mariah May, both professionally and personally, but we're not going to get into that. But as much as I love Mariah May, she's not ready for that spot. I'm sorry. She's not. She'll get there, but she's not ready now. I understand story, but there's a difference between what happened with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn versus what happened with Mariah May and Toni Storm. Sami Zayn was long ready to be a main eventer well before the Bloodline storyline. They just booked him like shit. But
yeah, I agree. I also think that with pro wrestling and the internet, when the internet's involved, everybody wants everything immediately. And if you're old school like me, you understand the importance of planting seeds to storylines. Sometimes those seeds take a while to produce something, and not every story, not every seed that's planted on a show necessarily means that's what we're getting immediately. Like, you have to there's so many moving parts and so many people are connected with each other through different ways. You've got to let certain things play out before you can get to other avenues of someone's journey. And I feel spot on, like you hit it spot on. I wouldn't push Mariah May too quickly at this point. You can't go to Wembley and not have Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter.
There's only one other match besides Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm that you could have done, and it was Mercedes versus Toni, and that's not going to happen because Mercedes is going to be the TBS champion.
Right.
Correct. Unless they do a title for title match, which I don't think they're going to do.
No, a title for title match is just doesn't
now,
make
it's
much
big.
sense.
It's big, and it would make sense for Wembley, but I don't think it's needed.
I don't think it makes sense in terms of what it does for the titles.
I mean, it does give the titles two big showcases, and Mercedes holding two championships. I mean, that would be historic, but I don't think that that's the best route to go, because instead of one match, you would have gotten two big matches with Mercedes and Baker.
And the TBS titles, that'd be like somebody holding the WWE Championship and the Intercontinental Championship at the same time.
I know, and it's happened before, and it was history making. That's a great feat. That's a great
feat for WWE, but I don't see the TBS. I just look at, to me, I look at an Intercontinental Championship as a prestigious thing, almost that it's almost in a class of its own. I don't look at it as a mid-card title, whereas I look at the TBS title, and that to me screams like women's mid-card.
Well, then that's why you would do something like that to elevate it. Now, here's the thing. Title for title matches are great. And, if they want to, one day they could do something like that with the two women's titles. But I don't think right now is the right time. Right now is just not the right time for that, because you got two big matches that you could book for the women at Wembley rather than just one. And we already talked about those.
Yeah.
All right, here we fucking go. Here we fucking go.
Here we go.
Top three matches of the night. Let's talk about Bryan Danielson versus Will fucking Ospreay. Will fucking Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. If you watched Will Ospreay and Takeshita, that was already match of the year for me. But, I mean, holy fuck. Holy fuck. How do you go over this? How do you fucking go over this?
You tell your audience to go fucking watch the match.
Holy fuck. Dude, St. Louis, again, I keep referencing St. Louis. I never would have thought that they would have been this good of a professional wrestling crowd. Dude, that crowd sounded louder than fucking Chicago at some points. Dude, this fucking crowd, you would think that this crowd was getting a fucking WrestleMania. Never mind a fucking Dynasty.
There were many people on X last night saying that they thought last night was louder than Mania Night 1.
It was. It was. Night 1 Mania was absolute dog shit in terms of crowd reaction. This one show, Bumblefuck St. Louis, Missouri, put Philadelphia, Night 1 of WrestleMania, to shame. Unbelievable.
I don't know if St. Louis is necessarily bumblefuck. It's a pretty big city, but I get what you're saying.
It's a big city. I just never expected it from. I've never heard a crowd this loud in St. Louis.
Really?
I've never heard a crowd this loud in St. Louis.
I knew
For
there
a
were.
wrestling show.
Thank God it wasn't Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh my God, dude. Holy shit. Dude, the match started, the bell rang, and as soon as the bell rang, the crowd was on their feet and they were chanting, holy shit, before they even touched. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Grand Slam with Omega and Bryan back in 2021. That's what it reminded me of.
You and Midmo Smart just said that at the exact same fucking time.
He
literally, that I watched his comment go up as the words were coming out of your mouth.
I'm telling you, great minds think alike. Great minds think. And the crazy thing about it is this was actually better than Omega and Bryan.
Yeah, that smile, that little sinister smile that Danielson got on his face when the crowd was chanting holy shit, like you could tell he was thinking in that moment, like, oh, like he knew what they were about to do to the crowd. Yep. Like he knew in that moment, like, oh, you're saying holy shit now, like just you wait. And they didn't waste no time. They wasted no. I was going to ask you if you knew exactly how long that match went, because at the outset when they're doing the intros, I'm sitting there and my adrenaline is going at this point because we're finally, you know, this was like the match I was really I loved all the matches, but not since the Pac Okada match from the beginning of the night. Like this was the next match that we got to that I'm like salivating for, right? And this is why we're all here, is for this fucking match. I mean, we're all there.
First match booked for the show.
Yeah, and Ospreay doing what he did with Takeshita. Ospreay just, for all the matches I've seen him in throughout his career, and then he comes into AEW, and I'm so happy that America is going to get to see this kid, and he does what he does at the last show with Takeshita. That was Revolution, wasn't it?
Yes, Revolution. 7 weeks ago, dude. 7 weeks ago.
So, but what match did he have on weekly television? He had a match with somebody since
Kyle Fletcher. So like 3 days after the Takeshita match. 3 days.
Right. And then he does this with Danielson. At some point, and I'm assuming very quickly, because every match he's doing seems to be outdoing the last match. We're already beyond spoiled with Ospreay, and I'm like, at some point, is he just gonna hit a plateau where he can't possibly make any match greater than any of his previous matches? And I always think that, and then I watch his current match and I'm just left like, what? I got nothing to say. And you don't ever catch me speechless. And last night, the emotion that I felt during the match, and then how exhausted and spent I felt when the match was over, that was wrestling greatness in every way, shape, and form.
And we still got 2 more bangers after this match.
I know, but this match was, I hope people understood, and sometimes it's hard in the moment if you're there attending with the loudness of the crowd. There's a lot of distractions. It's hard to just focus on the match and really sort of absorb it all. And usually that's why I'll go back and watch. I went back after I watched Pac and Okada this morning. I went right to this match right before we went live, and I'm probably going to watch this match a few more times today before the day ends. I hope everybody understands how special that was last night.
Dude.
And I don't know how many times we're going to get a Pac and Ospreay. I mean, Danielson and Ospreay, based on the fact that we know that Danielson is winding down this year. So, if we never happen to, I hope we get to see them again at some point. But if we never do, that's like some once in a lifetime type of magic that two people that have never wrestled before can just get in the ring and make that kind of magic. That's something that two people like a Brett and Sean that have been fighting their whole careers, and they give us their Iron Man match, right? Them two fought like they had been career-long rivals for the last 20 years.
You rarely find someone like that. You rarely find two people like a Bryan and an Ospreay, or a Okada and a Pac, that they've never fought before, but yet the first time that they lock up, they deliver a classic, essentially. You rarely find someone like that.
Is there anyone, I think you'd agree with me, like Will Ospreay's charisma is like off the charts, yeah?
Oh, dude, Ospreay's
at one
like
point,
the perfect wrestler right now.
The commentary was really spot on at the beginning of this, when the referee signals for the bell to ring, ding, 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 and the match starts, and Will Ospreay starts. I mean, he's flexing, and he's throwing his hands up, and he's walking around in a circle, like getting the whole crowd into it, and the commentary is going, I think it was Nigel McGuinness that said, Will Ospreay's getting too excited. He's getting too emotional. He's got to save his energy for this match, or he made some comment along those lines. I was paraphrasing, but to notice that on commentary was a nice little detail, I thought. And but you could feel the energy in the crowd, and you could just tell that Will was absolutely gassed, as the British like to say. He was gassed for that match, in terms of not gassed being winded, like how we know the term gassed, but the British will say gassed in terms of like pumped up or jacked. You could tell he was really, really fired up for that match right at the outset, and those guys put on something completely indescribable. It was magic.
I can't remember the last time we saw a match this good until you know what was I've always referenced the greatest match ever is Undertaker Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25, right? I referenced there's only one match that came close to what Michaels and Undertaker did at WrestleMania 25. And coincidentally, it was 10 years to the day that match took place. I remember it was WrestleMania 25, and it was Undertaker Shawn Michaels at that show. It was April 5th, 2009. The one match that came close to Undertaker Michaels was Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole at NXT TakeOver New York on April 5th, 2019, the 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Championship. That was the last match that I can honestly remember came close to Undertaker Michaels. This match, Bryan and Ospreay, the best wrestling match since Gargano Cole. Hands down. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back, NXT TakeOver New York, rewatch Gargano, Adam Cole from that show. Absolutely fantastic. 40 fucking minutes that match went.
I had said at the outset in the beginning, I'm like, I hope this match goes an hour. And even though it was 32 minutes, I feel like no matter, they could wrestle for 3 hours, I think, and it would feel like a 10-minute match to me. That's how great, like their chemistry was off the charts. I could feel it in my body last night watching them. And Will Ospreay, though, also it became apparent to me, like, this guy is absolutely fearless, and I just want him to be careful, because I don't want anything happening to where we don't see him on our TVs for an extended period of time. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we got a please be careful chant for the next match after this.
We got a please be careful chant for this match. I think they were chanting, "We're not worthy."
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. AEW, this is wrestling. They were going insane, dude. I can't even go over everything. All I can tell you is I'm not even going to bother going over anything. I'm not even going to go over the moves. Just go watch the match. Go and watch the match. But the one thing that I will say is the fucking Busaiku knee in midair.
Bro.
Brilliant. Dude,
when I was on the watch along, and I literally screamed. It sounded like somebody was like getting murdered. probably to everybody in the watch along, because I'm literally sitting there and I know he's going for the Os cutter, but the velocity that Brian comes off the ropes and just hits him right in the lower back with that Busaiku knee to counter the Os cutter. I didn't see
Dude,
that
he hit him in
coming.
the head. That wasn't the back. He hit him in the fucking
Oh,
head.
I mean the head. You're right. The knee hit him like flush on the jaw. Sorry, my fault. That was insane. That was one of the. I don't know if I've seen a counter quite like that to a move before. And also the balance that Will Ospreay possesses. At one point, Danielson goes to do like a snapmare over his shoulder, and he whipped him, and I was like, oh. And I know how Brian likes to, look believable, and he's a real stiff worker. And he whips him really fast over his shoulder, almost kind of like when you remember back in the old days. Well, I say old days, you probably they used to do. There's a difference between a vertical suplex and then a snap suplex, where they whip the opponent to the mat fast. And so his snapmare, sometimes they'll do it slow, but he kind of whips Ospreay, but Ospreay somehow landed on his feet, and that blew me away too. I've not seen anybody land on their feet out of a snapmare takeover before like that. There was a bunch of, there's so many things in this match. It was like an onion. You just keep peeling layers.
The Oz cutter into the Busaiku knee, that was, I don't think I've ever seen a counter like that since Cole super kicked Ricochet in the moonsault.
Yeah. That's a good comparison, because that was like a, whoa, holy shit, how did he just pull that off?
And Cole got him on the money. Like, you saw the replay. Cole got him on the money. Then you take a look at this. Bryan Danielson, the fucking
nailed him.
Timing is unbelievable.
Nailed him.
Unbelievable.
This match was I don't have I literally don't know what the words to say. There's nothing I can say that would make somebody just listening to this go, oh, holy shit, I got to go see it. Like, you literally, if you want to see one of the greatest matches in professional wrestling history, this match is going to go down. I'm not going to rate it in terms of a position, because there's just been too many over time that are epic and worthy of all the accolades that they get.
The greatest match of this decade. That's what I will say. I go based off of decades. In terms of decades, dude, this was match of the decade. The only other match that came close to this one in terms of match of the decade, probably Omega and Ospreay, coincidentally, last year, or Young Bucks Lucha Bros Steel Cage match, All Out 2021. One of those matches.
Ospreay is on a different level than anybody in pro wrestling.
How the fuck does he do it? How the fuck does he do it?
I don't know, but what's he gonna do the next time we see him?
I don't like, care. I'm just getting ready for another 8-star match. I don't give a fuck.
Did Meltzer?
Now imagine him in Pac.
When does Meltzer release his ratings? I'm really curious to see what he gives that match. If he's going to be generous or if he's going to shit on it. I mean, not shit on it, but is it going to get like a 4.7 stars, or is it going to get?
It's getting 5 minimum. It's getting 5 minimum. This match will get.
If that's not a 10-star match, I don't know what is.
So apparently there was an injury scare with Brian. I actually don't think he's injured.
I don't either. I didn't understand why people were freaking out, because if you watch the replay, he tucks his head in time and lands on his on his upper back.
On top of that, they showed a backstage exclusive with him.
Oh, did they?
Dude, if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't have gotten that backstage exclusive.
Yeah, and if he was really if there was some sort of nerve, cervical cord, neck damage at all, to where his twitching didn't look believable to me, for one. And a lot of people, I think I saw on X this morning, a lot of people seem to have a problem with the way they did that ending. Not just in terms of Daniel overselling that injury the way he did. I didn't think his twitching in the ring looked believable. There might be a possibility that he maybe towards the end of that match he injured his collarbone.
Collarbone maybe, but I don't think a collarbone injury is going to last that long.
I broke my collarbone before, and that is a pain I never want to experience in my life again. So I was thinking maybe a dislocated shoulder, like max max injury scenario. But he sold the way he was like selling that injury. I guess in the scrum, Ospreay said that he's removing the Tiger Driver from his moveset because of that.
Yeah,
But
if
I
that
also
was,
think Ospreay was also helping sell that injury by saying, no, it's real. He's really in, because he said in the scrum
yeah,
that he's really injured.
I don't
So
think they would have harped on it that much if it was fake.
if Danielson really had any type of head, neck, cervical cord, nerve damage they would have stretchered him out. They would have locked him down on a bed and
And he
wheeled him
got
out.
up. He got up
Yeah.
and he walked away.
Yeah, so I definitely think it was just him selling it. I just don't think maybe Danielson went about selling it maybe the best way possible, but I didn't care about that. I mean, that was like, of course, the marks are going to find something to complain about, and it's like you have nothing.
There's no
You have
story.
nothing to complain about. There's nothing. You can
No story. Meanwhile, if
Danielson,
you pay attention for the last 7 weeks of TV, you'd know the story.
right?
Fucking retard.
Danielson could have flopped around on the ring like this, like a fish out of water, to sell that injury, and it could have been the worst thing anybody's ever seen. And still,
He's injured. Oh,
you've got no. You've got no there's nothing to complain about.
Telling you,
Nothing.
some people are just fucking retarded. Some people are just retarded. Dude, I don't know how the fuck they're gonna top this, but I know that Ospreay something. Ospreay's gonna do something. You know what I'm actually shocked about? No Don Callis family heel turn. Well, they're already heels, but in terms of Ospreay, I mean, Ospreay's a baby face. I thought that we were finally going to get the exile of Ospreay from the Don Callis family. I mean, that's got to be coming. That's going to have to hold him over at least until June or July, because then it's probably Ospreay versus Pac.
God, I hope it is. I don't know if they're going to go that. I don't know if they're going to go that direction, but somehow, some way, I hope they figure that out.
He can't fight for the world title yet. Not now. He can't. Too early. You cannot. You do not have to give Ospreay the world title now. The world title can wait till next year. Ospreay, he's 30 years old. He's signed to a 3-5-year deal. He's going to be around for a long, long time. You know what they need to do? If Adam Cole is back, ready and healthy, Adam Cole should be the guy to beat Swerve at the end of the year. Swerve, Adam Cole at World's End. Swerve, Adam Cole at World's End. And then Adam Cole and Ospreay at Wembley. Next year.
I don't know if they're gonna. We'll talk about that some other time, but I don't know. I just don't know I don't know what the plan is with Adam Cole and this whole thing. I don't know if I don't even know if he's gonna see gold anytime soon in AEW.
I mean, you're going to have to give him, you're going to have to. I mean, he was going to win the world title from MJF. Samoa Joe was never meant to be the world champion. And we'll talk about Joe because, he served his purpose as world champion.
He's an unsung hero, in my opinion.
Oh, he is. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we get to the main event. But we got one more match before the main event. Young Bucks FTR ladder match for the vacant AEW World Tag Team Championship. I'm very happy that they made this a ladder match because there was no way that they were going to, they were not going to do what they normally do if it was a regular match. We saw 3 regular matches with them already. Now it's time we started to switch it up, start to see something different, right?
Yeah.
So we got something different. This was probably the best match to place after the Ospreay-Bryan match. And you know what I think? I feel like this is the Young Bucks MO. And this is FTR's MO too. Like if FTR and the Young Bucks are on the show, I feel like they do this specifically to kind of keep the crowd invested because maybe they know that there's no one that's going to be able to follow that. So they put themselves in there and they're kind of like sacrificial lambs in a way. But they still end up putting on a very good match. It's weird.
Can you kind of explain to me, just because you're not the first person I've heard say this, in terms of the match placement, because initially I thought, damn, I kind of feel bad that FTR and the Bucks have to follow what we just saw. But because it was the Bucks and because I've been so thumbs down on them with all the shenanigans that we don't need to talk about because we already know. I've been really down on the Bucks with the outside of the ring stuff. Their new heel persona, I've liked. The adding of Okada was a good move. I feel like it works for them because they're smarmy douchebags anyway, and so this fits I feel like they come across to me more believable as heels than as corny, cheesy baby faces. So um, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is gonna be. I know this is gonna sound dumb because it's FTR and the Bucks, but I was thinking, okay, more shenanigans from the Bucks. I don't really care to see these guys wrestle for a fourth time or fifth time, however many times we've seen it. I got on Twitter. I was tweeting for the first beginning moments of this match. I'd totally forgotten it was a ladder match even. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go get a snack, go do whatever, because I was spent at this point. And I thought there's no way the crowd's going to be into this match after what we just saw. Okay, like this is going to be the take a break match for me. And I was on my phone. I looked up. I saw the ladders and I was like, oh, that's right, it's ladders. And then my eyeballs did not look away from the screen at any point after that. Like I even texted Midmo Smart because he was there with his off the script sign that got shown a lot during this match. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get on DJ Storm's podcast tomorrow and say nice things about the Young Bucks, and that just really pisses me off. But I got to give credit where credit's due. I don't just hate to hate. I've been a big Young Bucks fan for many years. They were actually the first Funko Pop I ever bought. I got more Young Bucks T-shirts than any other kind of wrestling T-shirt. So I've been a fan of theirs. They've lost me with a lot of stuff recently, and this match was fucking incredible.
They're getting you back. And then you got FTR in there.
The FTR and the Bucks, I mean, they've got the Fight Forever vibe too. This is the third match of the. This is when have we ever seen? I can't think of a pay-per-view in recent memory where we've had
match together.
Yeah, but I can't think of a pay-per-view in recent memory where on one card we've had 3 Fight Forever feuds going. We had Pac Okada, Ospreay Danielson, and these guys, like you said, this is their fourth match together. And I thought I was going to be tired of it. I'm like, God, we've seen this so many times. Fuck. And it was like, by the end of this match, I'm going, well, give me this again. Shit.
Let me tell you something. I kind of felt bad for him at first, but
yeah, man, that went away quickly though, didn't it? With the crowd and that match, yeah, the feeling sorry, the feeling bad for the placement of the match. Oh, so my whole point I'm bringing that up is you mentioned that you thought the placement of the match was perfect, whereas I was thinking after what we had just seen, damn, that kind of sucks that they got to follow this match. Why? Help me understand the mentality of why you said the placement of the match was perfect.
It was a perfect placement because Young Bucks and FTR, they're two tag teams that are just at war with themselves to a point where they're always thinking, man, how can we top what we're going to do next? Like, what can we do to top what we just did? And I don't think that many wrestlers have that type of mentality to a point where you put the Young Bucks and Jericho and Omega right after the Swerve Hangman Texas Death Match. And that match in the first half, back at Full Gear, it didn't feel all that important. It felt lackluster. But by the end of the match, I'm saying, that wasn't, the best Young Bucks match I've ever seen. But they made do with it and gave me a very good tag team match in the end, to a point where the placement, it didn't fuck up the flow of the show that bad. And then you got this match, a ladder match coming up right after Ospreay and Bryan, all these high spots with the ladders and the tables, and Young Bucks and FTR, we all know how great they are in terms of their in-ring work and how competitive they are with themselves, I mean, they're going to go balls to the wall and do everything that they possibly can to top what Ospreay and Bryan did. Even though they're not going to come close, they're going to give us something serviceable. Whereas, like, for example, you take a look at what happened at Revolution. They put Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm right after FTR versus Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley. And that was
terrible.
Yes. And it was a very lackluster, it was a dynamite match.
Right.
It was a dynamite match. So no one was really going to top what Ospreay and Bryan did, but FTR and the Bucks would have actually given us something serviceable. I don't think anyone else would have been able to at least give us a match that wasn't going to be considered better than Bryan and Ospreay, but it was going to be considered, hey, this was still a very good match, and it kept the crowd invested. That's what I meant by the match placement was perfect, because no one else could have thrived in the death spot other than those two teams.
Yeah, and this being in the death spot, given what happened with the all-in footage fiasco and TK's seeming doubling down on his decisions, and I thought
he's got balls. I'll say that. He's got balls.
I mean, I was fully expecting to not feel any sort of investment during this match for a number of reasons. And I mean, shows you what I know. And I've been watching this shit for 3.5 decades,
So we'll go over everything that happened. We got some great spots here. So pretty typical stuff. I mean, they were hitting people with ladders. Bucks were hitting Dax and Cash with ladders. Oh, by the way, Cash Wheeler was the MVP of this match.
Cash Wheeler is a psychopath, my friend.
Cash Wheeler, like, out of everyone in this match, Cash Wheeler was the MVP. This was probably the first time, I think, where Cash actually outshined Dax.
There has been many matches of FTR's career where I've thought to myself, oh, Cash is another guy where I'm not really on the thrilled end of having to receive moves and spots by that guy. There was one point where he tossed Matt Jackson, I think it was. He did some sort of spot through a table, and Matt landed with his head up against the guardrail, like just pink like this. And I was like, oh my God, he just snapped his neck. I mean, those guys were going at it.
So Cash Wheeler, he was taking some nasty bumps throughout this. So very typical spots. Dax Harwood delivered a back body drop to Matthew. I have to call him Matthew now. I don't want a $1,000 fine.
Oh, we got to call him Matthew and Nicholas?
Matthew and Nicholas.
Oh, cringe.
It's working.
I know it is.
It's working.
It is.
Hey, listen, you want a fucking fine? I'll call him right now. I got him on speed dial. Anyway. So pretty typical spots here. Everyone was getting thrown into ladders. 3 tables were set up. So I'm like, all right, we're going to get some crazy ass spots. So this is where things started to pick up here. We had a huge ass ladder bridge set up between the barricade and the apron. And Cash Wheeler delivers a picture-perfect moonsault. Picture-perfect moonsault off the ladder bridge. I mean, that is fucking hard to do. That is very, very, very fucking hard to do. So Cash Wheeler, I mean, props to him. Picture-perfect moonsault off the ladder bridge, which was not sturdy. Afterwards, Cash Wheeler, this is where he starts to earn his MVP status. Cash Wheeler gets crotched in between the rungs of the ladder. Looks like he ain't having any children. Then the Bucks, they're on top of the ladder. They deliver an EVP trigger on the ladder. So it opened up more room for some creativity. Dax crashed in a heap on the floor. Afterwards, we had both members of FTR being tossed into some ladders. We had Dax Harwood locking in a sharpshooter on Matthew, while Cash, he went to climb, but Nicholas stopped him dead in his tracks. We had Cash Wheeler throwing Matthew on the apron, and then Cash Wheeler with a running body block that sent Matthew off the apron through a table. I think that may have been the one of 4 table breaks throughout this match. So that was the first table break. Then we had Nicholas delivering a Hurricane Rana to Dax off the apron through another table. So both teams are now brawling on top of the ladder. We had a Shatter Machine connects. Nicholas and Dax were on top of the ladder. This was a great spot right here. FTR with the Splash Mountain Powerplex. Splash Mountain Powerplex. Dax superplexed Nicholas off of a ladder, and then Cash with a big splash off of an even bigger ladder.
That spot was awesome. Yeah, that was a dope spot.
Awesome spot. Crowd was chanting AEW, AEW. Nicholas had Cash Wheeler on a table. Cash Wheeler again took a fucking beating. Nicholas Jackson with a 450 splash through a table on Cash Wheeler. And then Dax said, all right, you want to take out my partner? I'll take out your partner. Dax with a pile driver to Matthew on the ladder bridge. The ladder snapped. Crowd was chanting, this is awesome. Everyone was down. Dax Harwood then went up, but Nicholas delivered a springboard sunset flip powerbomb off the ladder. In came Cash, and Cash, this is where Cash is a fucking psychopath, like we stated. Cash dove through the ropes like a fucking missile. It's almost as if, oh my God, who the fuck am I talking about? I think Nathan Fraser on NXT, that man, the velocity that he gets on his suicide dives is fucking great. Or hell, Darby Allin. Cash Wheeler gave Darby Allin's suicide dives a run for their money.
Where he dives is like he's running full speed in the ring and just dives through. A lot of them will slow down the last couple steps to dive through, but Darby just shoots right through that gap like a missile.
Unfucking believable. So yeah. Cash Wheeler just dives through the ropes like an absolute fucking psychopath. Matthew moves out of the way, and we had Cash Wheeler just destroying himself against the table and the barricade to a point where he's hunched over like this. He's curled up in a fucking ball after he gets put through the table, not even fucking moving. Crowd is chanting, please be careful afterwards.
Yeah, please be
careful. And I laughed at that.
At one point, because I think it was Nick and Dax that were climbing up the ladders, and the crowd was chanting, please be careful, because they knew something crazy was coming.
Something crazy was coming. So after that, it looked like FTR were going to win because Dax Harwood, he took the belt and he bashed Nicholas with it. Nicholas went down. Mm-hmm. Dax Harwood now has a clear path to it. All of a sudden, you see one guy who you thought was in a devil mask.
I thought it was the devil mask. I was like, who's coming out? And then I was like, I yelled it on the watch-along. For whatever reason, I thought it was Jeff Hardy of all random dumb things that didn't make no sense. I don't know why. I was like, Jeff Hardy.
So we get this guy in a fucking mask. Yeah, clearly you were tired. So we get this guy in a fucking Sting mask. And I thought that the fact that it was a Sting mask was great, right? So it was this guy in a Sting mask in a black hoodie, and he shoves the ladder over, and Dax Harwood is taken out completely, right? Dax Harwood taken out completely. And all of a sudden, the security, this was beautifully done. This was beautifully
It was perfect.
It was beautifully
perfectly
done.
Executed.
So, perfectly done. As soon as the ladder was tipped over, security, they stormed the ring. We're like, holy shit, it's a fan. They pin the guy against the buckle, right? They pin the guy against the buckle. He's unmasked. And who the fuck but scapegoat Jack Perry? The crowd gave this man the biggest pop of the night, and this motherfucker with this smug-ass look on his face, like he just pulled an all-nighter with Sydney Sweeney, like he just got Mariah May and Tony Storm to agree to have a threesome with him. This fucking guy with this smug-ass, prick-like smile, like he's like, yeah, motherfuckers, I just did that. And that's going to become a meme within the coming days. And we were talking about this before we went live. That's going to become a meme for when you go to McDonald's and you order a 10-piece chicken nuggets and they give you 11 pieces. You're like, yeah, I just pulled off the fucking heist this century. So he's being escorted out. He flips off the crowd. He throws up the elite sign, and Nicholas Jackson unhooks the championships, gets the titles. They are the first ever 3-time AEW World Tag Team Champions, and the elite are being built up as a super faction. This was easily the best FTR Young Bucks match that we've ever seen. Easily better than the one at Wembley, better than the one that we saw on Dynamite, better than the one at Full Gear in Daly's Place. All 4 men worked their asses off. Perry's return was executed to perfection, and we're off to the races towards the elite being, if not already, the top heel faction in AEW. Perry's going to be elevated because of this. Crowd gave him a huge reaction. Young Bucks, they're going to be the top heel tag team to beat. And we did not see the Motor City Machine Guns, who are rumored to be coming to AEW. If you're asking me, we could see him as soon as this Wednesday, and that could very well be your match for Wembley. It's going to be Motor City Machine Guns versus the Young Bucks. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But as far as this match goes, very well done. The best FTR Young Bucks match that we could have gotten. Perfect match placement. Everyone deserves a pay raise after the fucking brutality that they put themselves through in this match. And Jack Perry is back in AEW. And I can't say anything bad about it. It went off exactly how it needed to go off. And now we're off to the races towards the Bucks, Okada, and potentially Perry, now that he's involved with the elite. I'm not sure where he's going to fit, but if you want a guy that could potentially take the TNT title from Adam Copeland, look no further than the scapegoat himself. But let me hear what you got to say, and then we're going to talk about the main event.
So this is another match where, for me, like I said a little bit ago, I wasn't invested really, because I've been just so down on the out of the ring shenanigans. And this pay-per-view was so good that I completely forgot about Jack Perry, and I'm just literally completely in the moment at this point of the pay-per-view, and I'm not thinking about, no pun intended, jack shit else. And I'm watching the match till we get to the run-in, to the point where I said it was fucking Jeff Hardy, like an absolute jobber. Like, why did I say Jeff Hardy of all people?
Raging Girl Game is saying, like, yes, Rage, it's still going on. We're up to the main event after this.
I was texting you during the show how much I like Willow the more I see of her, and Jack Perry has the opposite effect for me. However, why I'm not going to criticize him today is because of how brilliant and how well executed this whole finish went down. The way that they had him zip through the crowd real quickly to where you see some commotion real quick, but before the camera even really gets to zoom in and focus, he's already hopping the barrier and hopping in the crowd. I mean, hopping in the ring, and then security is right there on him. It looked very much, for a split second, I thought, did a fan just literally run into the ring, right? Because security is on him immediately, and then he gets over to the corner and he pulls the Sting mask off, and he's got that smile on his face. And I was like, oh, that's right. I was like, they actually did it. They literally had Jack Perry fucking come back. At this point, up until that moment, I'd completely forgot about Jack Perry and all the whole shenanigans and the CM Punk shit. I thought this match was going to go very different. I thought after the previous match, the fans were going to be not as I didn't think they were going to be dead per se, but I didn't think that they were going to be nearly as loud as they were for Ospreay and Danielson. And I forgot about the Jack Perry aspect of it, so I was not really expecting much. And this match was, by the time, I should have, like, at the end of it, I'm going, I should have known better. Like, what was I thinking? The Bucks put it on a great performance. I think it was right for them to get the titles. It looks like it's weird to kind of have Okada come in from a different place and get a title right away, and then the Bucks not have something. So now, to your point, now that they've all got titles, now they're truly the elite, and now they're truly going to become a very quick annoyance to the rest of the locker room in terms of storyline, in terms of how their persona is just going to, they're just, I mean, they're already cocky and they already have egos. This is just going to put that in a different stratosphere, and they're going to do great heel work having these titles, I think, as a faction.
And I actually think that Jack Perry could get a championship sooner rather than later. If they do not give the title to Malachi or Takeshita, I think Perry and Copeland could be a match we could be looking at it All In.
I was very surprised by this match. I also thought the crowd was going to chant CM Punk heavily, which they did not. I don't even know if I heard. At one point, I think I asked Midmost Mark. I texted him and I asked him, did you hear any CM Punk chants at all? Because I didn't hear any come through on my screen.
I think they tried to start them and then they were drowned out by boos.
Right? Yeah. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this match, and it just pisses me off that I have to speak praises about go away, get off my TV, Jack Perry.
He's doing his job. He's doing his job. Listen to that reaction.
But that's go away heat. For me, that's go away heat.
Listen to the reaction, what he got.
Is not good. You don't want go away heat. You want heel heat.
He got cheered, dude. He got cheered.
I guess I must have missed
that. The man got cheered. He got a pop.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, of course you missed it. I'll tell you what you didn't miss, though. You didn't miss the main event. Swerve, baby. Swerve motherfucking Strickland.
Here's your new champion.
There you go, baby. Swerve and Joe, AEW World Champion.
King.
This was as good of a main event as you were going to get. It was not going to be a match of the year candidate. It wasn't going to be a show stealer. But in the end, we got ourselves a very good, very well-paced main event. Samoa Joe, he played his role beautifully. And Swerve, man, it was time. It was time. This was his moment. This was going to be his time. And in the end, we got ourselves a great moment, a great crowning achievement. And Swerve Strickland finally is AEW World Champion. And he should be holding that championship for a long period of time. You take a look at the challengers that he could potentially be fighting. Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, potentially returning Adam Cole, potentially a Bryan Danielson, potentially a Will Ospreay, someone from New Japan, I don't know who, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of potential challengers at his disposal. And Swerve Strickland, I think that he is going to have himself a very, and I mean a very, very prominent run, considering how loyal he is to Tony Khan and everything that Tony Khan has done for him. So let's go over what happened here. Swerve came out dressed like Black Panther. Crowd was electric for fucking Swerve. After a 4-hour show, crowd was still hyped up for Swerve. So Samoa Joe, right out of the gate, he did not fuck around. Joe caught a suicide dive, delivered a Uranagi to Swerve on the table, didn't break. Joe was just tossing Swerve around. He exposed the concrete floor, and he delivered a power slam to Swerve on the exposed concrete, which looked like it fucking sucked balls.
Bro, I said something on the watch-along that when he did that, it took me a second to realize, wait, he just did a Randy Orton-esque spinning power slam onto bare-ass fucking concrete. And then Joe's laying there and just laughing, looking at him like, huh. And I'm like, Joe, I know that sucked for you too, bro. Like, your knees banged off of that concrete slab, right? Right.
I'm trying to no-sell it, but
the way Swerve's back made that slap when it hit it just made a slapping sound, like when somebody gets their face slapped by their mom or something. When his back hit that bare concrete, I was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah, that looked like it fucking sucked. So Swerve tried to fire back. Joe just wiped him out with a nasty-ass back elbow. Swerve tried to rally. We had a rolling flatliner. triangle choke as well. Joe powered Swerve up into a buckle bomb and delivered a muscle buster. 1, 2, Swerve kicked out. So Swerve then hit a house call. Joe was draped over the bottom rope. Swerve with a 450 guillotine splash, which looked awesome. Swerve with the Swerve stomp. 1, 2, and Joe kicked out. I'm like, all right, now we got a match. Nana then had the referee tied up. Joe with the coquina clutch, but Swerve, he wrenched at the thumb. He wrenched at the thumb on Samoa Joe, and he was able to work his way out of the coquina clutch. We had another house call. 1, 2, and Joe kicked out again. Great near fall off that house call. Swerve and Joe were then up top. Swerve leaped over Samoa Joe. He delivered a power bomb, sent Joe into the mat, and then went up top, hit one final Swerve stomp. 1, 2, 3. Big pop from the crowd. Swerve Strickland is the world heavyweight champion, and there is no one that is more deserving after all the work that he has put in right now other than Swerve Strickland. There was no better time to do it. Now, before I hand it over to you, I don't want to take anything away from Swerve here, but I said something along the lines of this regarding Cody and Roman. I said that Cody's title win back at WrestleMania was great, and it was a moment that will go down in the annals of WWE history, but that doesn't change the fact that it still should have happened last year. And last year, it would have been more impactful because the landscape of WWE now is worse, and there's no credible challengers for Cody Rhodes. Now, Swerve doesn't have that problem. Swerve doesn't have the problem in terms of credible challengers, but in terms of the impact, I don't think that this title win for Swerve would have been as impactful if it happened at Wembley. And what I mean by that is, we talked about this during Revolution. Hangman Adam Page was the guy that elevated Swerve Strickland to that next level.
You had to go and say his name. You had to go. We couldn't get through a show without saying his name one time.
Dude, this is what we need to talk about. This is what we talk about. It's hard-hitting shit.
Okay.
Hangman Adam Page was the guy that helped bring Swerve to that next level. That dude, we mentioned that. That's the fourth Fight Forever feud that we talked about. That is a Fight Forever feud if I've ever seen one. That was legitimately the best storyline that AEW had since Hangman's initial rise to the world title back in 2021. And you take a look at what Hangman and Swerve did to one another and how it brought both men up several levels. To me, I don't know. It just feels as though with Hangman, if he won that match at Revolution, and then we would have built towards Hangman and Swerve, Swerve's title win would have felt bigger if it happened at Wembley at the expense of Page. Now, they could still do that. They could still do Hangman and Swerve at Wembley. Matter of fact, they should. That should be the match at Wembley, and Swerve should retain, and that finally sends Hangman over the deep end. And then Hangman is just a fucking sociopath, and he loses his shit because he couldn't beat Swerve, and then Swerve continues his title reign to the fall. But I'm just saying, as great of a moment as this was, it would have been more impactful if it happened at Wembley and Swerve won it off of Hangman. That right there, that was going to be the moment that was not only going to make Swerve a bigger star, but that would have been the moment that would have been looked back on throughout all of history. This match, as good as it was, and as good as the moment was, I don't think that this moment was as impactful as it could have been. But I take nothing away from Swerve Strickland. Let me hear what you got to say, and then we're going to get on out of here, baby.
Since you want to bring up that guy,
just say his name.
First of all, I'll start with the positive. I'm happy that I got a prediction right and you got one wrong, and I get to throw that in your face.
What do you mean?
So I'm happy for that.
What prediction did I get wrong?
Well, because you thought that Swerve was gonna win at Wembley, and I was
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that he was gonna win at
but in
Dynasty.
this match, I said that he was the right winner. I predicted him to win.
No, I know. I'm just saying when the last time I was on your show and we were talking about the rise of Swerve, you were saying that he'll win at Wembley, and I'm like, I think they're going to do it at Dynasty, but that was just a small little feather in my cap. But I wouldn't have booked. See, I love Swerve. I've been watching that guy toil away since the Lucha Underground days. I was excited as shit when he went to NXT. And then he found himself the leader of Shit Row. 2 years ago, he comes over to AEW, and I'm thinking, how did WWE, because he was decently booked. I liked him in NXT. They were doing good things with him, and then they got called up to the main roster, and he got introduced to Vince McMahon, and now he's in AEW. So he's been on the rise, and I just felt like the momentum he had last year when we got to Wrestle Dream, I did not like the fact that Adam Page was a part of that triple threat match. I said then I wanted it to be Joe and Swerve. I thought that Swerve should have won it in Tacoma in his hometown. I feel like he never got to a point where it was too late. Like he still had momentum. However, I feel like winning it last night, there wasn't as much momentum behind Swerve. Now, there's also some reasons not his fault that took place over the last couple of weeks that overshadowed what was going on with Swerve, especially the last week and a half leading up to this pay-per-view with all the other shenanigans going on. Swerve kind of got, and his match with Joe kind of got, at least the build-up for it for the final week and a half kind of got lost in the shuffle. And that's no fault of Swerve's at all. It was a great match. I knew those guys were going to kill it. I think that they had a lot against them in terms of the last two matches that went on before them. Now they've got to come out here for the finale. And the MVP for me in this whole thing was Prince Nana, because there was a couple of times where they did a big move and the crowd was like, yeah, they made some noise. And then they slow it down. The crowd would go from loud and then quiet, but you didn't notice it much because within a second or two of the crowd kind of getting quiet, Nana, whose house? And he did this constantly through the whole match. It was like he knew, hey, all I got to do is just, say whose house to get the crowd, to keep the crowd into it. And props to him for doing that, because the crowd had to have been spent. I was exhausted at this point. But I just feel like, do you think now we're kind of in this era, especially with the whole Roman Reigns reign that he had, we've kind of seen some champions recently have really long title reigns. Part of me wanted Swerve to win at Wrestle Dream because he could have been champion all of these months leading up until now, probably to Wembley. So he wins the belt now. Do you think that AEW is going to keep this title on him till next year, or are you okay if he gets to a match in Wembley and loses the title? Because there's a bunch of people on social media that really want Ospreay versus Swerve at Wembley for some reason, and they
cannot do that because that would be disrespectful to Swerve. There's a difference between Joe losing it here and if Swerve loses it. Joe was never meant to be AEW World Champion. The only reason why he is because both Adam Cole and MJF got injured. Adam Cole was going to be the guy to beat MJF for the World Championship. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That's where they were going. But Adam Cole got injured. You couldn't do that. Fine. But now MJF enters the fold. He's injured. You got to get the title off of him. Samoa Joe, who has been one of the most professional, one of the most just picture-perfect versions of a locker room leader that you could possibly be, never bitched, never moaned, never complained. He did everything that he was asked of him. So that could not have gone unrewarded. It couldn't have. So now Joe gets rewarded. He's champion. He was never meant to be a long-term champion. I would have had him lose at Revolution to Hangman because then you could have built towards Hangman Swerve, and then Swerve would have won at Wembley. That would have been perfect, just fine, no problem. But unfortunately, Hangman had personal issues. I don't know when he's going to come back. I would probably hold off on him coming back until after Double or Nothing. And then you can start building up him and Swerve at Wembley, because that should be the match. That needs to be the match. That is the match. And then Swerve vanquishes Hangman finally. And then Hangman moves on. He becomes a sociopath. He can go and fight anyone else. Like whatever babyface he fights, just have him be like a Randy Orton-esque psychopath, because he's mentally broken because he couldn't beat Swerve. So Swerve and Ospreay, I think that match is a main event anywhere. I really do.
Yeah.
But at this moment, does Ospreay need to win the championship? No, he doesn't.
No, but he's come in and like during his match with Danielson at one point, the crowd was chanting something. They stopped. Ospreay was outside the ring and he's up against the rail looking at the crowd, and he was doing some British chant that he got the Americans to do a British chant. And I said something on the watch along. I'm like, America, this is your introduction and your education on, how to chant like a Brit. Which I popped for that. He's over like Rover, Will Ospreay. I mean, I knew he'd get over. I didn't know that the audience, the American audience, was going to take to him like this quickly. I mean, he's come in and just been. I don't even know what words I'm looking for to describe what I'm trying to say. He's been something otherworldly, and he's over like Rover. So my worry is that, because I'm with you, I would much rather see Ospreay and Pac at Wembley.
You have a perfect 3-match lineup for Wembley. It's Pac, Ospreay, MJF, Adam Cole, Hangman, Swerve.
I would be in no rush, like you said, to crown Ospreay, but as over as he is, I can see TK getting really excited and antsy and wanting to get the belt on him sooner rather than later, and that's what I worry about. That wouldn't be my choice. But I've been seeing since their match last night, I've seen a ton of chatter on social media from people regarding Swerve and Ospreay at Wembley. So he's over like Rover. Swerve. And another thing is, I might be wrong about this, but they mentioned multiple times Swerve is the first African American AEW champion.
Yes.
What is Willow?
She's the first African American TBS champion, I'm guessing. Or no, she's the second.
Who won? Oh, because Athena won it, didn't she?
No. Jade
Cargill. Jade Cargill. That's right. Okay, because I was thinking I could not remember. I'm like, I don't think there's been another African American champion, a woman in AEW. Why aren't they giving that accolade to Willow? And then it made me angry that Mercedes Moné, interfered with her moment, because I thought that would have been a great time to celebrate that about Willow, but that's why they didn't do it. I knew there had to have been somebody that I couldn't remember that it was Jade that had the belt. So that's why Willow isn't the first African American woman to win that. So makes sense now.
But I don't want to take anything away from Swerve.
I just don't want Swerve to be transitional, because like Samoa Joe is the unsung.
He shouldn't.
Samoa Joe is the absolute epitome of team player. To just sit there and not sit there, but to take his direction and what they gave him and told him to do. He still came out and cut every bit of a Samoa Joe-esque promo anytime he was on the mic. He still delivered Samoa Joe matches. Like there was no point in this feud or in Samoa Joe's title reign where I thought he knew, because I think we all knew he was a transitional champion. And he never once came off to me as like giving off that vibe. Yes. And he has been toiling away for many, many years in the wrestling industry as a very, very underrated wrestler who spent many years not getting the shine he deserved, and still sometimes doesn't get enough shine I feel like Samoa Joe deserves. And last night, to his credit, I don't think people really truly fully, a lot of people, I know there are some that do, but Samoa Joe is incredible, and he's going to go down as one of the most, in my opinion, underrated wrestlers that wrestling has ever seen or had.
Pretty
In
much.
terms of his selflessness, in terms of he gives you believability every time you see him, regardless of what the end result is. And you can't speak highly enough about a guy like Samoa Joe. That being said, Swerve, man, I hope this is an epic run for him. He deserves it. He's his own guy. Like, I look at him and I don't compare him. There's no comparisons like to any other wrestler that I've seen before him. He's awesome, and I think there's just something a little more special for me knowing that he's from this part of the country, and that he's just from a little place 2.5 hours up the road from me. Brian Danielson also another quick 2 hours up the road from me from Aberdeen. So seeing them two shine is like, there's not much we have in this part of the country to brag and boast about. But if you're a professional wrestling fan, we've got the GOAT, Brian Danielson, and we've got Mr. Swerve.
Now, to answer your question from before, he doesn't need to hold it till the end of till next year. Have him hold it till Full Gear or World's End. That's more than enough. At 200 days minimum. 200 days for Swerve minimum. So Samoa Joe, listen, I'm glad that Samoa Joe got at least 100. So that was fine. I think he held it for like maybe 120 or something like that. Maybe a little less than that. But either way, look, I'm happy that he at least got 100 days with that championship. He did what he needed to do, and for the 110, 115 days that it was, he made it as meaningful as he possibly could. He made it as meaningful as he possibly could, and now it's Swerve's time. You got plenty of challengers for Swerve. I would go with Jon Moxley next. Jon Moxley and Swerve at Double or Nothing. So you got Double or Nothing, Moxley and Swerve. You got,
so you've got AEW champion versus IWGP champion, huh?
and it's a simple story to tell. I mean, Jon Moxley, he's a history maker. So
Yeah.
Jon Moxley goes, all right, you know what? I've already made history once. Let me make history again. First man ever to hold both the IWGP and AEW world title simultaneously.
So you think they book it as a title for title match?
No. Just for the AEW title. Moxley doesn't need to.
Oh, true. Right. I got you. Yeah.
So you do that, and then you got plenty more challengers afterwards. You got Hangman at Wembley. You got whatever New Japan guy at Forbidden Door. You got Brian at the Tacoma Dome for Wrestle Dream. And then at the end of the year, I mean, it depends. Like, maybe you want to do a match with Swerve and MJF. After MJF gets past Adam Cole, you can do that too. Swerve MJF.
I've got to see Swerve and MJF at some point.
Yeah, Swerve and MJF after Wembley. Then you go with Adam Cole. And then Adam Cole can hold that championship going into next year's Wembley. Will Ospreay, I mean, he's so over right now that if you want to give him one loss or two here or there, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. He's going to have to lose something at some point.
But at this rate, Swerve needs at least 200 days with that title. At least 200.
That puts us at where? 200 days from now, where are we in terms of
October, maybe? November?
October,
November.
So that's Wrestle Dream. Is October.
But then you got Full Gear, who, I mean, I would go with, here's what I would do.
He could lose it at his hometown. He could lose it in his hometown.
I know that, but I mean, if you're going to give it to Brian Danielson, realistically, Brian and Swerve is the only match that you could do.
Oh, you think Brian and Swerve is going to wrestle in Tacoma? When have we ever seen two guys from the same city wrestling each other? That would be kind of cool.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. That's the biggest match. If
that's going to be the match for Wrestle Dream, I will 100% attend that show.
But that's pretty much it, man. That's all we got for you. Excellent show. Tremendous show. Not one of the best of all time, but I mean, it certainly gave Revolution a run for its money. So I would probably say that it was probably top 5 AEW. AEW pay-per-views, this was probably top 5.
I am not going to disagree. I think there's been so many good AEW pay-per-views. I would have to really sit there and take more time than we have right now to actually sort that out. However, in terms of what we've seen so far in 2024, as Triple H used to like to say during the Black and Gold days, follow that motherfucker. Like, I honestly think between WrestleMania and Dynasty, this month of April has been a different level.
And Super Card of Honor.
Throw Super Card of Honor in there as well.
And Stand and Deliver too.
I missed Stand and Deliver.
That was actually a very good show. If you want to go out and watch it.
I saw a couple of highlights from that show. There's just, there's only so much time in the day, and there's fucking an overabundance of wrestling. I can't keep up with all of it, but we might, in the next few weeks, next few months, we might be talking about how epic April was. Like, I hope that this is like, a trend, and I hope this momentum for both companies keeps on the uptick, because I feel like now, since Dynasty, AEW's momentum has picked up, because they I don't know what it was about the beginning of April and WrestleMania seemed to have AEW very flustered.
Yeah, I mean, and we had a great month of March. Like, WWE, like the majority.
Yeah, it was like they were running really fast in March, and then they tripped on their own dick at the beginning of April, and then they had to get back up and continue to start running again. Yeah. And after last night, I feel like that's what they've done, right? So WWE's on a real huge momentum swing.
Following Mania, obviously.
Right. And I'm talking in the terms of the month we're in, right? So now, after last night, I mean, AEW definitely got back up on their feet and took off on a sprint. So I'm hoping with both companies, the one thing I'll say before you wrap things up is at the scrum, I did not like Toni Storm's jab that she took at WWE. I feel like, why are we still doing this?
I think that was her own accord, and I didn't really mind. I mean, who fucking watches the media scrum? Let's be honest here. I don't watch it.
It's the simple fact that it got clipped and it made the rounds this morning on social media, and she's talking about, oh, if you want to finish your story and this and that. Whoever's idea that was, AEW, since the very first moments we saw them as a company with Cody smashing Hunter's throne, they have not been able on a weekly basis to keep WWE. Some sort of jab by one of the AEW people happens every week. But then when WWE says something in a podcast, everybody loses their minds over it. I don't want to compare the two.
I didn't give a fuck about Punk's comments, because at the end of the day, it was nothing that we didn't already know. I didn't give a fuck about Triple H's comments, because Triple H's comments, let me ask you. Let me tell you something. Triple H, if he says that shit in a podcast, if he wants to come off like a retard, then he can come off like a retard. I didn't get bothered by it. And I wasn't bothered by what happened last night with Toni Storm either. But as far as these media scrums and these podcasts, like, I have probably seen a total, and I'm talking about the last, like, several years, I have probably seen a total of 20 minutes combined with all of these media scrums, because I simply do not give a fuck. I care about what happens on TV.
I got you. Some of us watch that stuff.
I don't know why. It's not entertaining. It's just not entertaining to me. It's just a bunch of yes men.
I think both companies are on a high right now, and I want to see them both focus on what's going on internally with them and not worry about what's going on with the other company. And I hope that by the time we get to a Double or Nothing, for sure, All In, I'm hoping we're still riding this wave from April of momentum, and we're not going, damn, April, like, we should have known nothing was going to top April. I just don't want to be sitting in July or August going, man, what happened? Things were so great in April. But they've got a lot of good stuff on both sides to build from, especially after that pay-per-view last night. AEW they kill it in the pay-per-view game, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen from here on out, because before this pay-per-view, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty down in terms of interest in AEW. I was just like, man, and I wanted to see Swerve win. I've been behind that guy for a long time, and it was to a point where I was just like, not feeling it. And then last night happened. So I guess AEW's back.
Well, March was a very good month for them. WWE, I'm glad that WWE's finally on the right track as well. Because the majority of this year leading up to Mania, WWE was just not fucking clicking. But after WrestleMania, like the last 2 weeks of WWE TV, it seems like they're finally starting to get some momentum on their side. So much so, I went out and said that SmackDown was probably the best show throughout the entire wrestling week, like 2 weeks in a row. So I'm glad that SmackDown's got some momentum behind them. We got some good stuff going on. We got Double or Nothing coming up. We got Backlash coming up. Backlash should be a fun show. We got Dynamite coming up this week. We got Hobbs and Moxley. I'm assuming we're going to get the Motor City Machine Guns as well. And then we got Raw tonight, which I hope to fucking Christ Awesome Truth lose. And DIY are the new champions. Cross my fingers there. But other than that, we are through another 3.5 hour stream. It seems like the MO. We're always going 3.5 fucking hours. But thank you all who joined. HooliGrim, thank you very much for taking the time. You already know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. HooliGrim, where can we find you on social media?
I've got it pinned under my name. It's easier than me describing it, but you can find me on X at HooliGrim, TikTok at HooliGrim. Real quick before we go, I just want to say thank you to everybody that came in and watched and stuck around. Thank you to Princess Skywalker. Go check her out. Her show, The Lowdown, on YouTube. Midmost Mark just started his channel a couple days ago, Decoding Kayfabe. Go check him out. My brother from another mother, Otis Ent, he's got his channel at Big O Gaming. They're all doing great things with wrestling content. So I'm just here to help support. Maybe one day I'll figure out my own content to create. But I love doing this with you. I appreciate every time you have me on. Today's kind of a somber day. It's my mom's birthday. Rest in peace. So I woke up this morning feeling some type of way, but I don't know. She always was a believer that the universe gives you what you need. And so I think it was fitting that I got to come on here today and talk about the thing I love more than anything in life. And that helped me. It was a great distraction and helped me through. So thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you again for everybody that showed up. Unless your name is Hunter. Unless your name is Hunter, you're a fucking bozo.
Hold on, I just saw a tweet on on X. Someone just suggested a great opponent for Swerve. Christian Cage.
Ooh.
Calling Swerve a bad father. I love it.
Ooh.
Now that is something I could get behind.
Yeah, I would have not. I gotta figure out what's up with Christian and why he's missing.
I think he's just taking time off. But either way, he's HooliGrim. I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. But before we get out of here, a very important question that all must answer. HooliGrim, please notify everyone who runs the IWC, because it sure as hell ain't Princess Skywalker Lowdown, even though she wants to believe that she does, even though she wants to try and upstage me. She knows who runs the IWC. Tell her, HooliGrim.
He wants me to say DJ motherfucking Storms.
Oh, you damn fucking right, baby. I don't just want.
He's not paying me to do that, though.
Yeah, I'm not.
So I fucked up somewhere.
He knows what the truth is. He acknowledges who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever, ever forget it.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!